What's up, everybody? How is everybody doing today? Just gonna sit, talk about some stuffs, and then probably go gaming. I might leave the chat, or probably play some video games. I'm probably gonna leave the chat up, see if you guys like that much. Sometimes I'll take it away, though, like right then when it wasn't supposed to, but that's fine. It look like, okay, that's fine. So, let's talk about what I really want to talk about. I got new wheels for skating today, for skateboard wheels. They're a big deal. They've been talked about a lot online. I don't know many people who have them, and mine are probably absurd for most people because they're 60 millimeter and they're the Andy Anderson Nano-Cubics. So these are probably almost like mini cubics, although I don't remember how. Actually, I'll look it up. How small mini cubics were, or how big mini cubics were. They still make them, I'm pretty sure. Let's go look. Make the Nano-Cubics? Let's see them. Or mini cubics. Or is it just the nanos? Nanos, it looks good. Okay. I don't see the mini cubics, but they were pretty big back in the day. Like, they were big wheels. Like, not they were big. They were mostly used for like cruisers and stuff. But these are 60 millimeter. I went with a softer one, which I'm not sure if I like the softness. They're not bad. They're 93A, but they make more noise than I would have thought they would have made. Maybe that's just on me because I haven't ridden a 93. Okay, so I'm chasing a skateboard that I had back in the day. That's what I'm doing right now. As my primary skateboard. The deck might change eventually, but for now it's just flip. I've always liked flips. They've always been pretty sturdy for me. They've always been pretty reliable. At least for me, seem to see less pressure, or at least smaller pressure cracks, if not all decks get pressure cracks, so that's besides the point. But really what it is that I wanted to try a new wheel shape, all that stuff. By the way, my old wheels were almost the same exact shape as the Nano-Cubics. The only difference is, I think this. So it's pretty cool. Being in rail is pretty sick. You don't really feel the axle, like the harshness of the axle when you're in rail. But I don't go into rail often. It's just when I do, I notice small things like that. I haven't grinded or anything with them, so I haven't had them locked into anything or nothing. So I can't or roll up on anything. But that would help physically, at least. Better. Now, they roll really good. They roll really well. Now, these are 60s, though. I don't know about the other sizes. They roll really well. Sidewalk cracks feel like nothing, even the big ones. Like the ones that separate the sections of the sidewalk. The road feels like nothing. Like asphalt, even rougher asphalt. Sidewalks that are pretty smooth feel like nothing. Skate park feels like nothing. Will feel like nothing. I haven't even been to them yet with them, and they probably won't feel like anything. Here's a problem I'm having, though. They slide pretty good for such a soft wheel, but I do have a small problem with them, right? I have a small problem with them. They don't weigh much. They're not hard to flip. They're not hard to do tricks with. They grip good when you want them to and slide okay. Remember, I have a softer wheel. Slide okay when you want them to. I haven't put them to the test with grinding or anything, right? So keep that in mind. Now, if you don't know, I was using the Dragon Formula Powell Peralta boards at like 58 or something like that. They've been worn down pretty good for the last 3 months. They actually started coning, which I never saw in recent history, but they started coning, so we flipped them on my son's board. The Dragon's not there. It's been wiped off. Just from pressure and using it 2 hours a day every day for weeks, and then 2 to 4 hours on weekends when I'm skating with my son and stuff. And this week my body's been getting abused. I've realized that I need to do other workouts besides skate to build my legs up, and I'll probably go over that one day. All I know, just know it's going to be a lot of calisthenics, some weight, but a lot of calisthenics. Mostly because first I gotta get to the point to where weight isn't going to affect me as much. Everything's real tight. Everything's real sore right now. It sucks. And I noticed that my ankle tilts in. Like, it kind of looks like that when you're looking at it, but it would be, like that. It's tilted in. Like, my leg is tilting in when I skate, and I don't like that because it looks dangerous. That could be from past injuries, things like that. But yeah, so I'm going to be working on that and working on my posture because it's going to help me in my skating because posture is a lot. But the Nano-Cubics have been pretty good. I like them. They're not perfect, but I like them. So Andy, hit me up for some ideas. Andy Anderson, because if you do know, Andy Anderson developed these wheels. I've always liked Powell Peralta wheels. They've always been pretty good to me. I've had Spitfires. They've been pretty good, except for at some point they get real tacky. Like, they feel like rubber almost, but they're hard. It's weird. Like when you're riding, right? Not to the hand, not to the touch, but I like using my wheels and they stay consistent throughout the whole entire use, except for the size and the speed that they're able to go. Because obviously, the smaller wheel you go, the slower you're going to go a little bit, especially on rougher stuff, so like asphalt and things like that. So I'm known for at least shaving off 5 millimeters before I even try to replace wheels. But maybe that's a different thing because I'm going to be testing some. Now, I have one major issue to me, and they're both issues to me, right? And it might be just because they're new. It might just be because I'm used to those wheels now, the old wheels. It might be because they're not as close as I want them to as the board I was trying to chase. And it might also just be that I haven't really broken them in. Wheels do break in. There is a break-in time. So, and I've only been skating them since, I skated about 4 hours once they came in. So, and then I skated for like another 30 minutes, and then I realized my knees were getting kind of right? I need to build those tendons back up. And my ankle. Most of my right knee, since that's what I pop off of because I ride regular. So with that said, my final reviews are great wheels. My first review, like first day, first touch, first use reviews are great wheels. They roll well, they roll over things well, like cracks, bumps, rough pavement, rough concrete, smooth concrete, obviously because it's smooth, so it's going to be easier smooth asphalt, obviously because it's smooth concrete, all that stuff. It feels more like they're wider, so they feel a lot better. They feel like they grip when you're turning or when you want the grip, right? And they slide pretty easily. Like they're not super hard to slide. But here's the thing, my old ones that are like soft, they're 90As, Dragon formulas. They are super soft. And I think those old wheels were harder than those, but softer than Nano-Cubics I just got. So, I mean, I'm going to play around with them for at least 3 or 4 months. That's what I did with the Dragon wheels. Play around with them for a little while, and then see how they feel when they break in and all that kind of stuff, and after harsh use, and is there a replacement window where they feel the greatest and they do the things that I want them to do? Is it short? Is it long? So yesterday was my last skate session with the Dragon Formula wheels. I love those wheels now, but they're just a little too soft to do good sliding. Now you can make them power slide. It's not that difficult, especially once you break them in, and try to force a slide here and there, whether it be doing like a power slide or a Bertlemann slide or something like that. But they feel good. They're soft. They go over cracks really easy because they're soft. Granted, they were only originally a few millimeters smaller. They were like 58s or 57s or 56s. So it wasn't much of a difference as far as like height. They do roll just as fast. I'm not as confident on those wheels because I haven't used them, so that's a little bit of a me thing. And the noise. Now, if you don't know, my favorite skateboard that I ever had was a flip deck. Tensor trucks, even with like the little slider and the magnesium hanger. A little slider pad, remember that? Medium bushings with the Powell Peralta wheels I got off of that cruiser deck I bought. They weren't mini cubics though. I don't know what the fuck they were, but they were soft. I can't find them anywhere. I can't even find them like a newer version or a similar version on Powell Peralta's website. So I tried those. They're a little too soft. My wheels were a lot harder than that, right? They weren't a shit ton harder than that, but they were hard enough to where I could feel the difference right away, even though I hadn't skated those wheels in well over a decade. With that said, I'm going to break these Nano-Cubics in. First day, they've been great for... Actually, I will say this. Besides my Dragon formulas that I had, the best, and those Powell Peralta and those old Powell Peralta wheels, because I don't remember what they were. Those three were probably the best brand new. Spitfires are really good, really good brand new, but sometimes when they're new, they grip where you don't want them to. You know what I mean? That's all wheels, but it feels like Spitfire needs a little bit more riding before you can actually do good power slides. Like a softer wheel, but they're hard. It's weird. It feels like a softer wheel where you need to break them in a little bit before you can start sliding good. And then, but the problem is the inconsistency of grip with Spitfires for me, anyways. That's what it's felt like for me. I've also had Birdhouse wheels, which were my first deck, because there was a sale at a local little sports goods stores that had like legitimate like flip and like actual skateboards. There was a cheap complete that I wanted to get when I first started skating as a whole setup because like I had mismatched shit. Like I had a shitty deck. I don't even remember what the fuck it was. It was already broken down to the point to where like it wasn't broken, but like when a board gets worn out, that's how far it was. It was a friend's deck. I had shitty metal trucks from some department store board. Took off a department store board that I had when I was a kid, and shitty wheels. And I did have some decent bearings. They were Bones. Forget which ones off the top of my head because it's been forever. But those. Then I got and whatever grip tape came on it. Then I got the Birdhouse. I was like, oh, my first complete. I'll keep all the other stuff for later, right? So after a while, I started accumulating parts and stuff like that. You know, I'm gonna try different stuff and things like that. So, I'll tell you the story of this board, of these wheels. that I'm looking for. They were on a Powell Peralta, old school, like 80s style looking board with a tail. It still had the curvature of modern popsicle boards, but it had the tail kind of squared, not squared, but kind of squared. And the nose was like a surfboard point, but not flat. It was curved like a nose on a regular popsicle board. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I can show you. I'm sure they have some that are similar, but not the same now. Because that seemed like a very experimental board at the time. And I bought it I asked for it for Christmas for just cruising, right? I just wanted to cruise. I would say the closest thing I could probably maybe this. I'd have to see the whole thing though. Not just the front of it. Like I want to see the curvature. Maybe this looks familiar. I don't know if this is curved or not in the nose, but this is this basic shape. I'll show it. Give me 1 second. Okay, so this was the basic shape of it, right? Kind of flat, but not really. And then this was like a little bit more pointy, right? A little bit, just a little bit more pointy than rounded. Closer to a surfboard. It was about this size too. It was about 10 or 9 inch deck, 10 to 9 inch deck. And it had, I don't know if this one does, but it had the curvature like modern boards do, like not the old school flat boards with just a tail. You know what I'm saying? So it was nice. I love that board. I actually got it as a cruiser and we started riding around with it. And the wheels were soft and the bearings were good and the trucks were super wide. I just put some riser because it came as a complete. I just put some riser pads on it. My normal setup, soft plastics and rubber longboard wheel riser pads. And I was riding it a lot, around town. I was carrying a separate deck for like actual skating, not cruising or, just going to a friend's house or whatever, like when we were doing like sessions and stuff. So we got that. And when I got that, it was awesome. Like I would just ride around with it. My friends liked it. They like to fuck around with it, stuff like that. We just kind of fucked around with it mostly. And then I broke a deck and I had the funds. I just didn't feel like going to the store or ordering one and waiting for one. More like I just didn't feel like doing anything about it. So I rode that for a while as my primary deck and it was fucking awesome. It was, first off, I got my first go around when I learned how to skate. That's when I perfected my heel, like got my heel flips on. That's like when I got it on. Like really good, really dialed. And it was a really big board. Now, I am thinking about buying another one as a cruiser, maybe a bowl. Maybe to relearn the bowl, Let me see if they have any good completes that aren't too fucking expensive, You know how that goes. Like I said, I'm not the normal audience for skateboarding. Like I like a lot of the old school stuff. I like a lot of the new stuff, and I like a lot of this one looks interesting. It's only 8x3 though. I want something a little bit wider. These are pretty. Are these all small because they're completes and it sells better? Who the fuck is riding a 7 1/4? 7 3/4 or 7 1/2 anymore, dude? Like, no offense to anyone who does. I'm not shitting on you. It's just I don't understand how any of you who has a normal size foot, so like 9 to 10 can or higher skate a 7 1/4. I skated a 7 1/4 when I first started, and the second, and I mean the fucking second that I saw 8, I tried that, and that was way better. And then I moved up to 8.5 eventually. And then I went back to 8, and then 8.5, because that's all I had in stock, and then 8.5, stuff like that. And the reason I'm stating that is, like, it's just crazy to me how you all fucking skate those weird ass Fucking maybe I'll buy a really good deck, like one of their flight series that's shaped like that. I thought about getting the Andy Anderson deck just to try it out, but they're expensive. All of them are, to be fair, because they're all like pro boards, right? They don't have they do. They have a couple generic ones, but the Andy Anderson deck, it's very intriguing to me. I'm gonna say it. So is the Chris Hype deck. That's really intriguing to me as well. The graphic sucks. I don't really care for Chris too much. Not that he's a bad person. It's just doesn't seem like someone I would hang out with. From what I've seen in a video of him, nothing against him. I don't have any personal beefs or anything. Just doesn't seem like someone I would hang out with. Not shitting on him at all. Do not claim I'm shitting on him because I'm not. Yeah. Yeah, not looking for any on the flight deck. I will say Powell Peralta decks and Mini-Cubic mini logos. Mini logos come in clutch, bro. Mini logos come in clutch. If you ever need a spare deck, mini logo. Always. What limited edition ones do they have? Actually, this looks closer to what I used that thing, but without the cuts. I can't tell if that's curved up or not. So that would be weird, right? That would be weird, right? I'm not looking for something like that. That looks curved. I just can't tell. I do like it, though. A little expensive. Anyways, point being, I was skating that for a while, and I learned a lot of really good tricks, especially got my board slides down. I got my... at the time, this is a long time ago. I can't do this shit anymore. I'm relearning how to do all this shit. Well, reteaching my body, not my brain. Like my brain understands it and knows how to do it, and even knows the foot placement off the bat usually. Unless it's something like I haven't done in like something silly like a no comply. I love no complies. They look cool, but like for whatever reason, I could never get it into my skating. Like, I learned it, right? I knew how to do it. I could do it. But I just never got it into my skating for some reason. Like, into my, like, everyday skating. So, that was one problem back in the day. I already hit flight deck. They're supposed to be pretty good, actually. Flight decks. What's the Pro Series? Is that just all of them? I mean, if they aren't flight decks, yeah, it's just a pro skaters stuff, professional skater stuff. Let me just go through all of them, really. Let's do a 10. What do you got for 10? That looks interesting. Caballero. I don't know. Is his deck curved in the front like a nose? Because if it is, I might rock that. I like more plain decks, though. Not that there's anything wrong with the graphics. The graphics are usually cool on all decks. Most decks have cool graphics except for very few. Very few don't have any cool. You know what I mean? But actually, this dog one right here, the Powell Peralta Frankie Hill Bulldog reissue skateboard, this one looks very similar to the one I was talking about. That's probably the closest it would get. It just was more round, more pointed here. I don't think they have any. It was like kind of like that, but a little bit more pointed, right? I don't know though. It was a 10. There's also a little bit more taper towards the back to an inch. Like it went from 10 at the nose being super wide and then 9 in the rear. It was 9 wide, probably by the first truck bolt. So it was a pretty steep curve. Rail was interesting on that thing. Trying to do any rail tricks on that thing was very interesting. And the trucks were the same size. They were both, I think, 9-inch, right? 9 to 10-inch. I'm not sure. No, it's probably 9-inch. because the back didn't hang out over the back. You could still get in a rail without it being weird feeling. That looked like the closest thing that Street and Park. You mean just Popsicle and Andy Anderson's decks? Because the Popsicle ones, everybody has those. And I might ride Peralta forever because I do miss that. If I get an old school deck that I like a lot, I'll probably ride that all the time. Problem is, then I have a problem with wheels again, right? The same problem with wheels. So I had their 90A, right? They don't even have them at 90A anymore. That's crazy. That's crazy. I did get that off of CCS, so they might have been an old set of wheels, but they do work really good, by the way. I love those wheels. But it'd be a softer wheel. I want to get the same wheel. So I ended up, my biggest problem was that once I lost the main that I had with those wheels, I could never find the same thing again. So with the cruiser deck, which I ended up breaking, doing a stair set, because, you know, it was a cruiser deck that I could actually skate. I before that, I started doing, I put downhill wheels on it. Super tacky downhill wheels, which made it just a cruiser. But it was fun to do like little things like stair gaps, stuff like that. But if I can find a 60 mil, what they got in 60 mil? Some 60 mil. It doesn't have to be new. It could be an old set that they haven't reissued yet. Things like that. 60 mil. They don't have many choices besides the Nano-Cubics. Now I'm running these, the 93As. They're not bad at all. I suggest if you want a sick wheel to start out on, probably go with the smaller size of the Nano-Cubics. So the Nano-Cubics come in a bunch of sizes. Not like all of them. I think they come in 60 and 52 or something like that, or 50 something. Let's see, here's a bunch right here. 54, 56, 60, and 58. So they come in like 52 to 58, or 60, 52 to 60. I recommend the 60s because I like stuff that doesn't feel as harsh. But I'm going to say that does feel a little harsher compared to the soft ones that I had. Now, my problem with Peralta is that they don't have the size and the low number in between here, right? Which is fine. Other companies do, I'm sure. I'll have to look some up. But we can go to CCS real quick and check out their wheel selection. I'm just choosing CCS. I know there's other retailers, blah, blah, blah. This is a good way. So if you don't know anything about CCS, you've never gotten anything from them, which is understandable. Trust me, I'm not saying shop at CCS. Do your thing. But they used to, I don't know if they still do, but they used to send, if you signed up for their website, they used to send a little magazine that had all the not all their skateboard parts, but all the the newest stuff and the most popular stuff at the time. And then they had all the decks they had. It was pretty thick. It wasn't it wasn't super thick, but it was thick. Wheel Dura, that's what we're gonna look at. What is a weird in between? 92? Who does that? Who makes 92s? Ricta. What size can I get? If we can get 60s, that'd be perfect. Because this is my favorite wheel size. Why? No wheels that are 60. Okay. I should have just looked because there wasn't that many. 54, 54, 54, and 54. 92 seems like the perfect spot, but 91 also feels like the perfect spot. We don't know why there isn't a 91. Not that I'm shitting on it. I'm just saying that we're shitting on anyone. I want to say they were 92s, maybe even 91s, those wheels. But you know what? If I'm going to have a cruiser, I might go with the 90s and just break them in. I just need, or even something softer. But if I'm going to skate it, too, which you probably will, Powell Peralta wheels I've always liked. I really have. Their decks I've liked for a long time as well. It's just I didn't ride anything besides the old school one. And I've ridden stuff like, as like friends ones that friends had and stuff like that. Excuse me. Damn. What the hell? Anyways. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't mind getting a Steve Caballero deck, or I don't know. I know his name, but I don't know why I know his name. You know what I'm saying? One of those things. That's a little too rounded in the rear, though, I think. It was a very well-balanced skateboard for how weirdly shaped it was. For at the time, mind you, I do really like that kid's deck. I like it a lot. I don't like the graphics so much, but I like the curvature. I like the weird shape. It feels like that's going to help me with something. It's a 9.5, which isn't bad. And it's a 31-13 truck distance. Wait. Or maybe the total length, right? Not wheelbase. That's got to be total length, right? Mike Vallely skates for him now, apparently. Mike V. I wouldn't mind rocking a Mike V board. He's got some cool... It's a reissue, but... It's $100. But I like the shape of that, too, except for I don't really like the flat nose. But I'll stick with the flat nose as long as there's a reason it's flat. Probably pop better nollies or whatever. It was kind of like that, a little steeper. But I like the deck. I like the deck a lot. I kind of miss it. The closest I found that they have is probably this one. This one looks too flat up front, and I don't think it has a curvature that this one does. This one looks like the normal curvature. But I also gotta look at it physically, like in a 3D space. Or at least pictures of it that are like the top, the bottom. Now, I might not just stick with Powell Peralta, right? I mean... I like Powell Peralta, right? I like him. But... I'm not strictly wanting to stick with them if they don't have a similar board to that as well, And I'm not shitting on Powell Peralta at all. They just don't have something. It probably didn't even sell that well. It was like $150 or maybe $125 on sale on Black Friday that year. And... I kind of just, my grandmother was like, in like mid-November was like, what do you want for Christmas? And I just was like, I don't know. And I sent her that. And I was like, is this cool? And she's like, yeah, because, you know, your grandma, you don't want her to spend too much on you. But, yeah, our whole thing is big Christmas gifts. Like, we get birthday gifts, not giant ones, though. We get birthday gifts, but it's usually, like, you know, small things that we want. Not in size, but in, like, cost. That you just never buy, right? Like, rice cookers aren't expensive, but I got one for my birthday. My parents gave me the money for my birthday. They're like, how much is that rice cooker you wanted? And I was like, $40. And it was $40. And it's probably the best thing I've bought for the kitchen in a long, long time. I do like this. It's pretty cool. I wonder if the shape is the way I want it. I do like that. I like it a lot. I'm not a huge fan of the graphics. Like I said, I'll take a blank. I don't give a shit. Because some of them, like, you look at the graphic and it's like, dude, why are we, like, putting this on a skateboard and just ruining it? Like, you know what I mean? This is actual art. Stuff like that. It's, like, really detailed. Like this. I couldn't skate that. I'd feel like shit. That's pretty detailed. I know it's just a print of someone who drew something probably on a computer, but that takes some real talent to do. You know what I mean? I can't do that. Feels kind of disrespectful, but at the same time, I guess they put it on there and are like, you know what? We know they're going to ruin it. Who cares? It's just something cool to look at before you ruin it. Right? So, I don't know. I'm just sitting here thinking, you know? I'm thinking about getting a cruiser deck eventually. Not anytime soon. Probably wouldn't be till like next spring or something like that. But what's up? Yeah, skateboards. What do you mean? I like rice cookers. Engraving. The only problem with that is it does. You gotta remember these are plywood, usually 7-ply, with maybe some secret in between glue they use, like an in-house glue or for the plies, because the way they do it is they have thin sheets of. Like, I've actually seen them made. They have thin sheets of plywood, like a ply, and they press it into a press with steam and some other shit and glue and all that, so it all conforms to that shape. So when you're probably losing some rigidity there that they want there on purpose, right? Skateboards nowadays are very deliberate in their shape, either because of the skater themselves who designed the skateboard shape, or just the standard popsicle normal flip or mini logo or their normal boards, like this Steve Caballero board right here, the normal popsicle board. Yeah, they are. There's very good reasons the concaves are where they are and things like that. Some of them are just like an in-house preference and they just throw the person's name on a board. So, like, they made a specific skateboard to do something specific, like flip. At the time, when they first came out, nobody was using their shape. That's why I love their boards. So it's pretty flat looking, but there's a deep concave across this way, right? And there's deeper ones here, and these actually raise up. And this is more of the standard shape now. It's just flip was like really big into this like deep concave. Most of them weren't as deep. It's like you're talking about like a millimeter, maybe even smaller of a difference, but it does make a difference. It's kind of like adjusting. Actually, if you watch Andy Anderson's video on his own deck, it kind of tells you why his shape is this way. So, on the bottom of the board, on the bottom of the board, because that's taking the most forward. Like, the top's taking in the force and deflecting it to the bottom. Like, have you ever seen a skater land both feet in the middle by accident? It just caves. You could break a skateboard very easily doing that. The reason they had have it curved like that is to keep it rigid and not just a flat piece of wood. And there's all the other reasons as well, like doing it for flip tricks, things like that. But engraving would probably, the first ply would definitely be structurally damaged because they're thin. Like skateboards aren't very thick. It's essentially a piece of plywood that's been pressed together customly. So like this one, if you can see, I don't know if you guys can see it, but I don't know if it's coming up on screen. Maybe if I make it bigger. Drop this. You see there's black, it looks like one big black line, but it's actually like two. So this board is, for the 7 plies, is black, white, black, white, black, all the way up, you know what I mean? So, and some of them are, like, it also depends on the person, like the company. Some plies are thicker than others. Sometimes the press, the way they're shaped, the way it's pressed, the ply is thicker at the nose and the tail than it is at like the most concave surfaces. So like these are structurally designed, newer ones, like expensive boards. Anything that you're spending 30 or 40 to hundreds on, they have this concave. Yeah, epoxy. The color fill is not the epoxy. That is, they dye. So depending upon the company, some of them dye their individual plies because once the finish comes off of it, which will be very soon, because the first time you wreck or like, you know, you try a flip trick and miss the flip and it lands upside down, you're getting rid of that patina almost instantly. That polish and that lacquer very quickly. You're gonna go down to raw wood in 5 to 10 failed kick flips, right? Like if you'd land on top of the board, or if, you know, also picking it up, snapping the tails, puts damage. It's you're slowly destroying a board. You're slowly destroying all the parts on the skateboard, really. But the reason that engraving would, I mean, I guess if they did like a really thick lacquer and they engraved only the lacquer, that could work. That would work. Like if they put like not super thick to where it causes problems with the flexibility of the board, just thick enough to be able to engrave maybe, but that's pretty thick. Like you're talking quite a bit there. Trying to think like how thick that would have to be. That's pretty, but engraving, it's a good idea. This on the like it's a good idea on the thought of it, but also brazing or prodding or what else do they call fire? But that also is structural damage to the deck as well. They would have to add an 8 ply, which then it would be a little bit more solid. So there would be less flex in the board in general. And part of the reason most skateboards are 7 ply is because that's the optimal weight, flexibility, and rigidity all into one. Like they've tested this thousands of times. Actually, in the 2000s, especially the late 90s, early 2000s, especially like the mid 2000s, when everybody was doing those huge fucking gaps, they were experimenting with 8 and 9 and 10 ply boards, but instead of wood, it would be a ply of like carbon fiber or others, fiberglass, things like that. So they were playing with that to give it more structural rigidity because they were doing the craziest shit then. Like, skaters today are really good. Like, your average skater is probably just as good as I was when I was skating, and I was, at the time, not like a pro or an am, but like, you know, if I worked a little bit harder on flip tricks and maybe did a little bit of a crazier gap, it would be video worthy and like sponsorship worthy. Maybe not in the sense of a pro, but like definitely some kind of sponsorship for their team. Probably mostly in the media sector. and just getting like free decks, essentially free team decks, which are usually just like, this is a team deck. I like team decks. People shit on team decks. They're great. Team decks are great. Okay, they've always been great. They've never not been great. Okay, I get everybody wants. If you're a Flip fan, I get everybody wants a Tom Penny board. I get everybody wants the Ardo Sayari board. To be fair, Ardo Sayari deserves that because he did do that retarded like 20 step in France or something, wherever the fuck it was. That thing's crazy. But yeah, they use all kinds. So they've played with different wood, different ply, like adding plies of different materials. And they've tried just multiple plies of decks, things like that, of thinner wood, things like that. Like they would get real thin, or as thin as they possibly could without like it being useless. Things like that. But like at the time, they were doing such big stuff. I mean, you had Danny Way doing the Great Wall of China. You had a lot of big ramp shit going on. You had people doing ridiculous gaps like normally. So like they had to adapt. Like the board companies had to adapt somehow. Because giving your sponsored writer a free deck when they ask for it, or when they just need a couple because they're going on a video shooting trip, isn't exactly money making. You know what I mean? So they have done bamboo. I don't know how good bamboo. This is, I think, oak, if I remember correctly. What is Flip using? I'll ask. It's usually maple. Maybe mine's maple. I have to look. That's just giving me the usual. What everybody uses. Maybe Flip says so. I'll just go to the Flip website. I'm surprised they're still around because they were like the most crazy of them. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'll find my deck, but I can find a team deck. It's probably the same wood they're using. I have one of the newer decks, but it didn't come as complete. What's this? I hate when they lay out websites weird. This one. It's 8. Yeah. Similar. No. Because mine's just the outline, but close enough. It doesn't matter. It's a team deck. They, yeah, hard rock maple for them. So, they've played with all kinds of wood, dude. They've done a lot throughout history with all that. Let's see. Let's see. I wonder if any major company. I know they for a fact that I think either Enjoy or Plan B or Habitat tried like a bamboo layer, at least, if not a whole deck, because they were talking about it in a video interview long time ago. I wouldn't mind trying something different. Looks like there's bambooskateboards.com. Is that a store or is that like what they make? Yeah, there's a whole company based on bamboo, it seems. And they make everything from, looks like they make popsicle sticks, they make longboards, cruisers. They're all bamboo, it seems. or at least part bamboo. I'll click on one of the decks. $19? Why is this so cheap? Yeah, you have to pick a size. No? Damn, it's cheap too. It's got the concaves you need, right? Actually, they almost match flips. A little different, but... And you can get it complete. They have cruisers as well. It's pretty sick. Not gonna lie. We're making everything. This is almost the exact shape of that one board I was talking about. Except for the wheel cutouts. They weren't there. But the a little bit too pointed, but it's close. It's close. White elm. I don't know. I don't see anything. But I'm sure someone's done it. It's probably some like fucking off the wall shop. It's probably not any major brand. Because it probably does take a lot of money to birch. I know they've done birch too, I think. Usually done in maple, bamboo, and birch. I know they've done that for longboards. I know longboards have had some weird woods too, just for fun. And then I know they've done oak and all that. Birch, bamboo. Yeah, it seems like everybody's looking at birch and bamboo and maple. Different maples, but mostly Canadian maple. And yeah. Some have like birch or maple veneers, so like the outside will be maple and be merged, but the inside's like oak or something like that. But yeah, skateboards are fucking the amount of technology that goes into them. You don't really think about it because it's just like, oh, that's a piece of plywood. You know what I mean? I didn't see anything on white now, but I'm sure someone's done it. But it's you have to have the flex. There's a mix. It has to be flexible enough so not brittle, and it's a weird like sweet spot. So oaks, I've skated oak boards before, and they're kind of stiff. They're not bad though. They're just kind of stiff in comparison. You do get some good pop out of them. Birch, I want to say they're a little bit lighter. Not enough to really notice, but like, just feel, you know what I mean? To me, it just feels lighter than maple. Maple's good though. I mean, shit. I had a friend who, as a summer job in college, who decided to like work for a skate shop and pitched the idea of making their own boards. And him, well, they were long boards, but they're pretty easy to make. You know what I mean? It's pretty much a piece of plywood, and you just shape it into the shape that you want. That is aerodynamic and flexible enough, but also rigid enough. That kind of thing. So you're pretty much just shaping it down. His was a unique shape, not super unique. Sure, they exist in longboarding somewhere else, but yeah, they do a lot of research into this stuff. Like, you'd be surprised at what skate companies do to, especially now, but even before, I'm sure they tried tons of wood. I mean, if anything, they probably tried pine, which is horrible. So, which is horrible plywood. It's good for, like, you know, so that has a lot of support behind it. But like, as far as a plywood, it's just not very good. And it's super soft, so it won't hold up to like damage very much. Like, one of the things about skating is that just grinding on ledges and stuff and things like that. Ledges are a little bit easier than rails, but like once you start seeing curbs and stuff that are waxed, or even like stone ledges, no wood likes it, even if it's polished. So it might be a little bit better off when it's polished, but like just asphalt tears apart your tail and your nose when you're trying to learn manuals. You know what I mean? They have made plastic-based skateboards. They have. They definitely have. I think that even goes back to the 80s. I'm not sure on that, though. Fiberglass woodwork, just not in huge thicks. It couldn't be like, it would have to be layered, but also free to move. Right? Like, you would have to layer a bunch of fiberglass to make a ply, then glue those together. You get what I'm saying? Because it would be a little too hard. It would work as a structural support, that it would actually functional work. It just wouldn't pop or anything. It would just be really stiff. Like, weirdly stiff. Like putting up... It'd just be weirdly stiff. Same with plastic. Plastic, it's either weirdly stiff or not stiff enough. Like, I know in the 90s, there was a lot of plastic skateboards that were coming out of, like, stupid brands for, like, Walmart, or, like, those buying off the TV shit. Dude, I don't know, one of my friends had one, because I guess his mom got it, like, at Walmart or whatever, and it was just a straight plastic board, see-through green. I think it was ABS. I don't know what kind of plastic it was exactly. I was like a little kid. I was like 6 or 7 or something like that. So it wasn't a serious skateboard anyways, you know what I mean? We weren't skating seriously then. I wasn't skating seriously until high school. I mean, we rode around on skateboards, but we never, like, for fun, but like we never like tried any tricks or anything. You know what I mean? Like, we were just having fun riding, bombing hills and shit. But just pushing around. Mostly bombing hills, let's be honest. One of my friends had one. It was super stiff. There was flex to it, but it was like an unnatural, weird flex. Because I remember saying, because I had just a normal oak, flat, old school board. So, like, that my dad got me, you know, for Christmas one year or something when I was little. It was like, it was cool. Like, you couldn't skate it like you can, like, flip deck, but like, or like any other normal it was flat. It was just flat with a tail. That's it. So it was probably like an old standard of freestyle, or even when it was like ramp and bowl, time frames. But it was awesome. I liked it. It was fun to rush. I wish I would have kept that. I don't even know what happened to that. Parents probably got rid of it. I started skating for real. Yeah, 3D printing probably wouldn't work for that. Because part of the reason skateboards work is because they're glued together. Like, if it was just a solid piece of wood, it would not flex like that. It would not be as structurally flexible. It would still be flexible, but not like that, right? I mean, that's a pretty big, thick. It's like what? I don't even know. If I had a tape measure, where's my tape measure? I usually have one sitting around. I don't know. It's probably like what, a fucking quarter of an inch piece of wood thickness was. Maybe a little bit thinner. Maybe like, I don't know. Like fucking some weird ass fucking fraction. Like, you know, like some really long fraction. Like 100, like, you know, like 30-second, whatever, you know, a little bit less than, you know, quarter into 30 seconds. Anything bigger than like a 16th is really not worth talking about, but or smaller. But it's kind of plastic was weird. Fiberglass would work, but it'd just be really stiff. It'd be good to cruise on. If you made like a downhill board that was that light, I don't know if it would fly as fast though. That's the biggest problem, right? So, and it might not give you the suspension benefit, like because of how wide they are. You're not touching the trucks at all. I mean, you don't really during normal skating either. You're kind of behind the front one and behind the back truck most of the time, unless you're skating nollie. So, because your foot would be in front of the trucks. But in a longboard, since they're so long, you're standing in the middle, and that gives you suspension benefits. Like it's like a lateral suspension, kind of like a trampoline, or a leaf spring kind of deal. Yeah, and I think they actually do design the plies like that too for longboards. Like I think they design it for the optimal flex that isn't too bouncy when you run over like a crack and isn't too hard when you run over a crack. And it acts as a suspension because a lot of downhill boards are used for downhill skating, which is very fast. So even with large wheels, 60 and above, and even being some kind of hard rubber, or even soft rubber to the point, or really soft polyurethane or whatever, it would be very harsh on your body if it was too stiff, and it would be very harsh on your body if it flexed too much too, because you'd be like ooh, 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 the whole time on some of the roads in the world, right? And all downhill skating is done on roads, so at least at the moment, I'm sure they'll find a sport to throw it into with the Olympics or the X Games. But and you can do tricks on those. People act like you can't. I was like, dude, I've seen dudes do shove-its on them. A long board is a really long cruiser / freestyle board. That's all it is. A little bit thicker and more suspension-y feeling because you're standing in the middle with your foot, you know, with your feet comfortable the position you're going. And useful, obviously, because you got to turn and stuff. But yeah, I've seen some people do some stuff on some longboards. But yeah, it's kind of the technology involved, even though it's just wood and rock essentially. You know what I mean? Except for the plastic, bushings and the wheels, riser pads and such. Most of it's just rock and metal. Just another piece of wood and a piece hunks of rock together, or rock and tree wood. We like. I always say this in real world. When you look at the world, right, and you look at everything's made out of rocks and sticks. Because guys just like rocks and sticks. I'm convinced that's why everything is made out of rocks and sticks. Like things you don't think is a rock is a rock. Like computers, most of computers come from rocks. Like how it makes it actually function. Like processors are crystals. That's what they are. Like they're just crystals. Like they're specific crystal. I don't know what it is exactly, but. Yeah, people make walking on boards all the time. The reason they do is because how would it skate? You're talking about like a surfboard-sized longboard, right? Almost. It's not completely close to a surfboard because they're usually thinner than a surfboard. Some of them are so minimalistic that it's like you're standing on a beam. Like you're standing on like you took a 2x4 and set it on its side, and you're just standing on that. That's what it feels like sometimes. Not that it's applied. I mean, what's epoxy? The wheels? I mean, I guess they probably do make epoxy wheels, but it's usually polyurethane. That was one of the big things. That was one of the big things in the 70s that changed skating, and in the 80s. The way freestyle was done, you weren't doing like any slide tricks or anything. And when the because they were like more rubbery. I think they were just rubber, or there were some people who have metal ones too, which that's fucking horrible. I mean, it would work, but it's just gross sounding and all that. They're made of polyurethane. Yeah, polyurethane's an epoxy, so I don't know if it's polyurethane epoxy or whatever the fuck it's called, but it's just a solid dense chunk of that. And they change the hardness of the wheel using polyurethane. I don't know about epoxies. Other epoxies. But yeah, polyurethane's pretty tough, dude. Like, you know those like clear cubes of like dead bugs or whatever? Like they put in a clear cube just like as an art piece or like just like a thing that you sit on your desk, like a paperweight. That's what that is. It's just a epoxy on a mosquito. Like that's all it is. Yeah. Not that it actually worked. It's just that it's not hard because the only thing you're doing is you're pressing a stick, right? Like because it's not concaved or anything. Usually, some are. Some longboards are like regular skateboards that are longer and are very, very much have curve to them, but not like a tail or a nose, but like they have curve to the deck, right? But a lot of it is just shaping flat pieces of plywood, essentially. It's just sectioned pieces, and the plies are thicker and things like that. The only reason a skateboard, how like the ply on a skateboard works is the way it's shaped, so it's not very thick. So the thicker the longboard is, on the side, the actual deck, the thinner it usually is, right? Which makes sense because it's a more aerodynamic shape, especially since they shape it into a nose and a tail, and they shape the sides to be aerodynamic. It's not like it's not just a stick, you know what I mean? It's not like they just put a cube or a square on some trucks and roll down the road. It's thought of. They think about it. They really do. Just to think thickness of like individual pieces of the ply. I'm not smart. I would have never fucking figured that out. Like I even worked construction and understood plywood. But I never really thought about like the thicknesses of the individual plies. You know what I mean? It's like, no, I thought about the overall thickness. Quarter, 3/8, half inch. All that stuff. Up to an inch. I'm sure they go even higher than that. That'd be a weird plywood if it wasn't custom made. If you bought it at Home Depot, that'd be weird. If it was like 6 inches or something, like a 6-inch cube of plywood. That's really specialty wood. Right? So it's either made by somebody by pressing a bunch of plies together, or it's like custom ply you can order. I would assume. Yeah, baseball bats are crazy. Aluminum skateboard would be very loud because it would have to be. It's not the bounce. It's not the bounce of. Remember, you're bouncing off of a board. You're bouncing off of that. You don't want metal. It would be dangerous. It wouldn't have the flexibility, and since its flexibility it's like rigid. Like if you bend aluminum, it just bends. It doesn't really, like it does flex back a little bit. It'll bend a bit. I'm not saying it won't. Because all stuff under structural weight bends and flexes back. But fucking aluminum would probably get bent pretty quick. If you do a stair set on aluminum, if you ollie a 5 set on an aluminum deck and land in the middle of the board or the tail or the nose by accident, which happens all the time, like you just end up in the wrong position. You can land it very easily doing that too, as long as you squat right. But like, it's a lot of force. It would have to be a thick piece of aluminum to not bend something like that and stay permanently bent. Now the wood does do that. It does flatten out, and it's debated whether it's the glue they use, whatever they use, the epoxy they use, and the wood itself, or both. There is some debate to it, but eventually the glue or epoxy or whatever it is just loses its ability to grab onto the wood. So it takes a long time, and you're usually done skating that deck before then, either because of a break or because of, or it usually takes a year. I'm not saying it always takes a year. Or just once you start getting into advanced skating and noticing differences in your board, you start to realize that there's a point period where your deck is perfect, and it's depends on the skater. For me, it's about a month of skating the deck, depending upon how much I'm skating that month. If I'm skating like every day for 2 hours, it's probably like maybe 2 weeks. And maybe like a month or two after that. And that's if you don't break it in that time frame, like any major breakage. Like it could be a tail break at the trucks, it could be a tail break because it hit a wall. It could be its nose break for the same reason. Same with the nose. If you land on the nose on the other side of the trucks, like in Tenali, it would you could potentially crack the nose off of the trucks. And you can always land too hard, not soft enough, and just crack the normal ollie position. So on the tail and or in the front right behind the truck. So it's a very common thing. And that's if you don't break your own deck, because lots of people do that too. For fun. Usually because it's worn out. I'm sure someone's tried aluminum. I'm sure someone's tried steel. I'm sure someone crazy has some stupid skateboard challenge some YouTube channel, and they were like, "We're gonna send in your weirdest skateboard material, like skateboards made out of weird materials." I'm sure they've done it. It's probably been done, right? Someone's had to have done that by now on YouTube. Like, there's definitely like deck reviews and shit of people who actually skate enough. To even know the differences. Because here's the problem, right? A lot of people, even some of the best skaters in the world that's ever existed, don't really care about the skateboard as long as it functions the way they function it. And there's a lot who care about like who want to design decks, like the shapes and the concave and like the differences in sizes across the board and things like that, wheel spacing or wheelbase spacing and like all that shit. I'm sure pros do that all the time too. Oh, you mean like hemp? I'm sure someone's tried it, but that's an epoxy, right? That would have to be an epoxy type setup. Because remember, you're carrying anywhere between 100 to, I mean, obviously little kids also skate, but like serious skaters, you're carrying anywhere between 100 to maybe even 225, depending upon how tall they are and how muscular they are, right? So it had to be an epoxy type setup, like fiberglass. If I remember correctly, Henry Ford did do that, and it was just really fucking stiff. Like, it flexed, but it wasn't like the kind of flex you want. And it probably takes forever to break in. Like, it might be great. Same with, like, fiberglass, if they did it right. Or carbon fiber, like straight carbon fiber. If they did it right, like, had, like, carbon fiber sheets in like a ply setup. Not like you had some going this way. So I don't know how you would do it. But like, if they could do that and then glue those together and that would still be flexible, the glue, and carbon fiber is not like, you can bend carbon fiber pretty easily. It might be too brittle though. I don't know. I feel like carbon fiber flex is pretty good, but it's stiff. So it would be like more like flexing a piece of wood, like a 2x4, right? That's what I feel like it would feel like. For all those epoxy type materials, like carbon fiber, hemp, plastic. Yeah, plastic. You probably have to do injection molding because it has to be a solid piece of plastic. 3D printing probably can't fix that. I saw that you said your friend saw someone do that, and I don't think 3D printing is going to fix. Maybe trucks. Trucks. I would like to see a cool 3D printed truck to make it lighter. You know, like magnesium. A lot of companies switch to magnesium for the hangers at least. Maybe even the bases too now. We figured out an alloy that's just strong enough, you know what I mean? Because magnesium's pretty brittle. Like, it is. Like, it's not super brittle. It has flex to it. But, like, you can break it pretty easily. Unless it's, like, a solid cube. So, or, like, a hard, solid molding or printing or, well, I don't know if even 3D printing is solid enough for metal yet. I know it kind of just welds a powder, but is that solid enough to hold but is it flexible enough or is it too brittle? So I'm sure there's alloys that are different, right? For magnesium. I doubt they're using straight magnesium. It's probably a magnesium alloy. So just science, like, just from what I know about metals, because I'm not a super genius or anything, but like, casting is a good form to do it because if you get it right and there's no bubbles in it, you can repeat the process. Casting is pretty damn good. Like, yeah, it's brittle, but it's also flexible enough to take hits. pretty devastating hits. And retain devastating, like, all your engines are all your engines used to be cast iron. They take explosions, literally. They're little explosions, right? But still, they don't fall apart. So they're flexible enough, and the heat exchange, the heat being under stress, being under heat, making heat, things like that. There's a reason why they use steel for a lot of stuff. Like trucks steel is a good material. It's rigid enough, flexible enough, it can come back to normal shape enough to keep people safe, right? That's why they're still using, like, even the magnesium trucks are using a steel axle, right? Because it's just the way it feels and works. Steel can take a beating. That's why. In comparison, aluminum and magnesium is like nothing. Like, yeah, it doesn't take a lot of damage, but like, you can beat the shit out of some steel, man. I mean, we make post hole diggers out of steel. That's what they're made out of. They're just made out of straight steel. And you are slamming them things into rocks, into the ground. And it takes a long time for the top to mushroom. The pounder part, for putting the pole back in, like a fence pole back in, packing that dirt in, it would take a long time to make that mushroom, even under like hammer force, like sledgehammer force, like seriously, like actually mushroom. It might mushroom a little bit, but it's gonna take a long time for it to mushroom very much. It's also a wide face, so you're gonna be denting it more than you're gonna be mushrooming it at first. Then it'll start to mushroom. Curve bar is another prime example of that. It's just forged steel into a bar and a shape. Pry bars and stuff like that. I wonder what forged steel trucks would feel like. They're probably heavy, right? Like the actual whole truck, not just the axle, because not like some poured shit. Like, these are cast iron. Independents are cast iron. And they polish them, get rid of any of the lines. Or cast steel. Sorry. Cast steel. And the axle is hardened steel, at least. It's probably forged. Because it's hardware. You know what I mean? The kingpin is also probably that. And your base is also cast steel. Like, it's cast. Not all of them are. I'm sure there's people who 3D print shit. But, or CNC shit. But a cast can get you different moldings for, like, your logoing and your names and maybe different shapes of the truck to make it more rigid or solid. It's good prototyping. But so is 3D printing, so is CNCing. Actually, CNCing, that's probably what they do. They probably use a CNC machine to test like bases and stuff. They want to change something. That's what I would do. CNC prototyping so fast. You know, you just give them to your skaters, team skaters, see if the base works better. You know, maybe it's like more rigid or more compliant. Variable with thicknesses, variableness in shape. Most of them are just squares, though. Some of them have some curvature on the sides and stuff, like going up the base of the truck, like up to the kingpin and stuff. But most of them are just cast steel, like for real, or injected steel. It's probably injected now, cast injected steel. I don't know how it works, so. But same with the hangers. The hangers is the part where the axle is. The axle's inside. So, and these ones are hollow. I have the independent level 10s. They're hollow, axle and kingpin. And they're pretty tough so far. Still as tough as old regular independents. So far. You know. But trucks are a forever buy. Depending upon how much you grind and stuff like that. Like, I think I went through only 4 pairs of trucks my whole entire skating for a decade. High school to almost 4. It was an interesting time because they always had like gimmicks and stuff and all that kind of shit. Like that slider pad from Tensor. But I will say this. People say it was a gimmick, and it kind of was. But if you knew how to use those trucks, you could control your speed way better with that polyurethane pad that was in there. They had a hard, they had a medium, and they had a soft. And if you had the medium, I don't know about any of the other ones because I always rode medium bushing. So I was like, I'll just get the one with the medium skid plate. Who cares? Right? It did work better in a lot of situations. Like, it worked better on wood. Like, you know those wood walls, like retaining walls you see? That would be cool to skate. And you can with that. Because, you know, sometimes they just use, you know, the wood's old. So it's like when you push on it, it just sinks in. Dry rotting slowly. So, and, easily dented, right? Right? So, I learned a lot about just different material from skating. I think it's weird. Like, you can make a 2x4 rail, by the way. You can do that. It works. It's sticky as fuck. If you wax it, it works. It works. It fucking works and it slides great. That's how I learned how to do board slides. I was, where I lived at the time, I didn't really have any room for, like, a rail. I didn't, like, but there was a bunch of scrap wood, and if I just kept putting the rail back with the scrap wood, it would eventually get used, but, I couldn't, like, I just didn't have a place to put a rail, you know what I mean? Even a one that you could move around. Then, when I did have a spot to put a rail, like, to keep it without it getting, like, fucked up from the weather, sitting for too long or whatever, because, you know, you really only pull that out when you and your friends are just hanging out, drinking and shit. And usually by, like an app, drinking and skating or smoking and skating, and usually within, like, an hour or two, you're using it as a bench. Like, that's usually what happens. So, but it was, you know, it was a fun thing to do. Pull out the rail, you know, let's do some simple slides and shit, learn some grinds or whatever, try some grinds where we're goofing off, being goobers. It was fun. Once you get to a level where you can, like, grind consistently and slide, do board slides and stuff like that, and lip slides, all those slides and grinds, easily, like, you know, 80% of the time. Once you get to that point, you can pretty much just goof off and play with it. And find both better and not better positioning. Like on the board or where your board's set up. Because most people think a 50-50 is like straight on the top, on the edge. No, it's usually a little bit crooked. It's like one wheel locks in, the other wheel locks in, right? Keep you more balanced and to keep you on the rail. Because you'll just slide off and roll off. There's a lot of actual, like, design features to skateboards that people don't think about. Like these wheels, the Andy Anderson, or the Nano-Cubics. They have a side that's really rounded and covers the trucks. Most skateboard wheels don't cover the axle, so the bolt gets stripped out eventually. You can buy new bolts, by the way, and rethread it. It's not hard. There's skate tools with rethreaders. I have one. I just got one. I lost my first one. No, it's not independent, but it's the same threading because it's a universal threading. For the kingpin and the axle, but that one only comes with axle. So usually you have to rethread the ends, and I did that because I had regular skate wheels. They were flat, concave skate wheels, but they were the regular ones you see on skateboards regularly. And your axle would actually hit concrete if you went in the primo, or if it landed on its side because you were doing a flip trick or whatever, which causes it to mushroom because it's just steel being pounded around essentially. It's not like it's right away, but it's pretty quick. So that covers that, and it actually in rail or primo, it does feel better. Like it's softer. You don't feel the pressure of the axle into your foot. You don't feel the like harshness of the axle touching the concrete or asphalt. You don't. It's very nice. Like riding on these is like almost riding on pillows. But so was my other ones, because these are a little bit more harsh. They're a little louder. They're a little harder. They slide a little bit better, but I got those to slide pretty good. It just took time and effort. All it did. You know what I mean? It's crazy the amount of stuff that they do with skating. And technology, like just technology and skating. Like you also now have like skating longboard, like electric longboards. You know what I mean? And mountain boards and stuff. Mountain boards are cool too. I kind of want to get one. I want a gas powered mountain board. That's what I want. Why? I don't know. It sounds like fun. It sounds like fun. I don't know where you would put the motor, but who cares? You know what I mean? Who cares? Because it's more like a snowboard than it is a skateboard, though it is a skateboard for riding on trails. And there's ones that have some crazy like suspension stuff on the trucks. So, and they're like way wider, and the wheels are way bigger. So you could and they have like rubber wheels that are like tires, like regular tires, and I think it's an inner tube. I'm not sure on that though. It might be pneumatic, but inner tube and a metal wheel, like a 5-spoke design or 6-spoke design to structural integrity and lightness. Those are cool. I've ridden them before. Had one a long time ago too. Kid, I don't know what happened to that either. I'm sure my parents got rid of it when I moved out. Stuff that I bought in high school when I had a job. You know what I mean? I'm thinking about buying a rail again. I'm thinking about buying a ramp setup that has like the box setup, because there's custom ones you can get. I just don't know how much they are. It'd be nice to have like a cool little manual box with ramps on each side. It was like not super tall, like maybe curb height, right? Like a regular road curb height. So you could do like manuals onto it to ride out, things like that. I think that would be cool. And it has like ramps on each side. Just ride up on and get a little bit of a kick off of it. Because I'm trying to do it when you're like having fun with your friends, not going all out. You know what I mean? That's a very easy thing. I mean, it's not much of a ramp, but it's fun to do. Maybe you couldn't do that, but maybe even having one that's set up with like a ledge. You know what I mean? That would be sick. Ledges are more fun to skate than rails, by the way. It's less dangerous, and it's more chill. Like it doesn't feel so high energy when you do a rail, especially like down a steep stair set. Or even just a normal steepness stair set. It's sketchy as fuck. Like it is. I'll tell anyone it's sketchy. It doesn't matter how good you are at it either, and I was pretty damn good. So, it's still sketchy as fuck. There's a lot of things that can go wrong very quickly. And if you don't have that grind down that you're doing, it's mostly grind. Slides too, but grinds are really where it's like nose and tail slides are easy to bail out of. it's board slides and specific grinds that are kind of hard to fail out of, right? So you can get hurt real fast doing that. Whereas ledges, no matter how big the ledge, like the end of the ledge, how tall the end of the ledge is, it's the same thing as like oiling off of like whatever that height is. If you can do that normally, then you're fine. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of ledges you can skate, especially in cities and stuff. They have like marble or granite, like stepped ledges for whatever reason. Like be it a fountain or whatever is around there. So they had to dig into the ground to make it level for where they wanted it. Things like that. It's really weird though. It's fun, like to think about. Just like the different material, like as you think about the different materials of things in skating, it's very weird. It makes sense for grinds and slides for sure. Like concrete and asphalt suck. Metal's the best, and ledges are great, but most ledges are like rock and stuff like that. So, unless it's a skate park and they have a metal ledge on it, quarter angle, angled iron on the edge. Like most places don't have that. It's just like a piece of granite or a polished granite or a piece of like polished marble usually, which looks good, but someone's gonna wax it and someone's gonna skate it. It's gonna break down over time. Not as harshly as you think though. And marble's not super, like it's soft, right? It's not super hard, is it? What's the hardness of marble? It probably varies between the marble too. It's a 3, so it's not super like it's soft, right? It's soft. I think it goes. I think it goes up to down, right? So the harder it is, or the higher the number is, the harder it is. So like marble's pretty soft, but it slides well when polished. So you're gonna break that down. Granite's a little harder. I've seen a lot of granite ledges too. So the best would probably be for stone that we use to build. I didn't realize slate was that hard. It's very brittle feeling though. Falls apart the way slate's made. It's a natural process. So it'd probably be like. Yeah, marble's good. So limestone isn't though, because it's usually not polished or anything. It's usually just flat and it's gritty. That's not good. I mean, you can wax it and get it done, but not very fun. Curbs suck, dude. When I first started, there was only curbs. You know, when you first start learning how to grind, since there's no real ledges sometimes, or ledges you can skate regularly, like it sucks. It's also fun though. Like it's fun, but it sucks, right? It's one of those things. Because asphalt and concrete suck for all of that. That's the reason. It's gritty. It's dirty because it's not like it's a skate park. Even skate parks get dirty. You know what I mean? Dust and shit, rain or whatever the fuck else. Storms, wind, whatever. You get smooth concrete, but like normal curbs aren't that smooth. They're not that. They're more gritty than they are like rough, right? Rough to me implies like it's structurally rough, but curbs do chip away pretty easily to make it smooth when waxed.
So it takes some time, but we had a wax curb for years where I first learned how to grind, do board slides, and not board slides, nose and tail slides. Concrete sucks unless it's like super polished. That's what most skate parks are now. They're polished concrete. Makes sense. It's longer lasting than like wood. So like that's probably why vert ramps kind of disappeared. Because vert means that the ramp has a vertical extension to the wall. Like there's a little wall, right? Like one section is a wall. So in a regular quarter pipe would be if you put the 4 quarters together, or the half pipe, if you put another half pipe on top, it would be a pipe. Whereas a vert would be like 2 vert ramps upside down, would be like it would be like an oval pipe. It'd be like an oval. So they're pretty cool. Big ramp is crazy. That shit's insane. I don't even think I would want to ride that fast and fly through the air that far on a skateboard. And not because of the danger involved, it just doesn't seem fun. Like, I'm sure it is, like, the first few times you do it, but I don't think I could do that all the time. And not because of the harshness of the landings, or even, like, the fact that it could be very, like, sketchy. Like, shit can happen. You could probably die, because you're going pretty quick. I don't see... And having to wear all those pads, which you should be wearing, by the way, but I just don't, right? I'm pretty careful. Every once in a while, I'll scrape something. But it's very rare. Even when I started skating, it was like that. It was kind of crazy. I was pretty well balanced too. So that's another. And I knew how to bail. Like I knew how to bail from the start because I was already doing BMX. I knew how to bail from that. Bike away from you, as far away from you as possible. That's what it is, right? That's what a bail is. So it's pretty easy to do the same thing with a skateboard, right? Get it as far away from you as possible, and hopefully you either land on your feet or like roll when you land. That's the same thing with a bike. Especially a bike, because if you land flat, it sucks. Dude, if you land at a stop, it knocks the fucking wind out of you. It sucks. It sucks so bad. I've had it happen to me a bunch of times. I mountain bike, and I used to do BMX. I was in middle school. And the amount of times I knocked the wind out of myself is probably more than 3. It's just 3 I remember. Because they were really bad. It took me a minute to get my breath back. Like a long time to get my breath back. Like I didn't even leave for like probably hours. And I wasn't bike riding after that. Like, because I was a little, I was like in middle school. I was probably pretty tough, but I wasn't that fucking tough. Jesus Christ. Now I just lay there. If nobody else was using the ramps, I just lay there and just fucking try to breathe. I'd have to win it on myself skateboarding, doing ledges and stairs and stuff like that. Like landing flat on like my back or my stomach and just knocking the wind out of my... Usually it's the back. I've only landed on my stomach once and it didn't knock the wind out of me. Usually when you're skating, you either land on your shoulder or you try to position yourself. Like if you can bail, you jump to where you can roll the direction you're going. So you're usually ending up on the shoulder anyways. But you gotta be careful with that. Just kind of fall. Hopefully you don't hit too hard and you're pretty good. Or hit it funky. It's very important to learn how to fall. In general, like in life. I'll tell you why. I'll give you a prime example. When my son was like, I don't know, like 2, I was carrying him down the steps, and they were hardwood steps, and I slipped and fell. Right? Never dropped the kid, tucked him into my chest when I started falling, spun around on my back, and just like held my head like this, and just waited until it stopped. Right? That's what happened. And my kid never hit the ground. He never got hurt. He didn't even cry. he just was like, what the fuck? It just happened. Learning how to fall helps dads. So if you're like one of those kids who sits in the house all the time and you want to have kids one day, go learn how to fall. Go do things that make you learn how to fall. Go skating, go mountain biking, go BMXing, go ride a bike. Fall a couple times, like on purpose if you have to. Like, it's not good to wreck, but it's also not bad. You gotta know how to fall. Like, we all have those friends who were always hurt, right? They always had sprained ankles or sprained wrists, or got them at least like more than twice, right? And they're just ruining their body in general because they're gonna fuck up more than their wrist. Like, yeah, it sprained your wrist, but if you actually landed hard enough, you could have broke your arm, you could have overextended your elbow, or broke your shoulder. Like, that's just crazy. In some ways, leg breaks are better than arm breaks. Especially, well, I shouldn't even say that. What I should say, it goes in which direction. It depends on which direction it's going in, right? Like, it's fine when it's like spread out versus this, and you're gonna get some scrape on your elbow, right? Just from rolling. But that's because it's also harder and more dense when you go like this, right? You don't like shoulder into it. You just kind of keep your arms to yourself or as close to you as possible when you wreck so they're not flailing everywhere and getting fucked up. It's just a natural reaction. Just kind of go stiff like this, or like wherever your hands were, like if they were up here, like as you were grinding or something, you were balancing, you would just do this. Like, it's just a natural reaction that people should do. Like, follow that. I know it's more tempting to save a grind than it is to not. Just don't. Like, it's not good for your bodies. Shit, the whole sport isn't good for your body. Your legs are fucked, your ankles are fucked. Your hips are fucked eventually. Even if you take care of them and build the strength. That's why I gotta do this next couple of days, because I'm feeling it inside of my tendons. Like, my tendons are starting to get sore. So I gotta rest today and start working on, like, tendon strength, stability training, stuff like that. Because it's not safe to have that feeling, because you're gonna break something. You're gonna snap something. Maybe not a bone, but you're gonna break a tendon. You're gonna tear a tendon. It's gonna hurt like hell, and you're gonna hate life. So I'm gonna build that up. You know, start jumping more, like in a workout, like box jumps or something like that. Things of that nature, or even just like step jumps. That would probably help too. Just step jumps, but box jumps are fine. My porch is pretty tall off the ground because the driveway sank. So, like a long time ago, before I even bought the house, I'm not really that worried about it. It's pretty tall because of that. Beside the you know what I mean? I could do it on that. I could do it on anything, really. Anything that's not, I'd say 2 feet tall. You know? But, or tall. That's not too tall. Just to get some stability in my landings and things like that. It's very important. Because I'm going to do it like I'm skating. Not like you normally would. Like, most people would try to plant. You never plant your heels, but most people would try to land pretty flat-footed, but you're on your toes most of the time when you're skating. So, like, you're like on the ball of your foot. Not really your toes. You're not standing tippy toes or anything like that, but you're like on the ball of your foot most. I got to work on that stability with ankle and foot stability. Because like I said, I feel it in all the tendons. It's not just like one or two. Like, my legs are on fire. I'm going to take a break for the day. And I usually drink 2, but I drank like 3 protein shakes today. So, hoping that'll help. Right. It probably won't, but I'll take a rest day and then I'll start working out the day after while also skating, but nothing too strenuous. Not I mean, not the 2 hour sessions I was doing before, right? Maybe like an hour just to keep the tricks that I'd have learned, which is to shove it pretty much. And, well, no, my manuals are getting pretty good again. They're not great. But I'm finding the balance. I got new wheels, so I have to find the balance point in that. But it's not too. They're not too great, but they're not too long. Like they're like a driveway width right now. Stable. I want to get my stability down to at least like a 2-lane road, no shoulders. Because I used to have that kind of stuff. I probably won't again, but I can get as close as possible. You know what I mean? It'll be fun though. Skating's been rough, man. It does destroy the body. I can feel it right now. I'm gonna work out those parts of my body to make them stronger. Once they heal up, they're not strained or anything. They're just sore, which means that's not good. You know, it doesn't feel good. Like when your leg muscles, like your primary leg muscles, like your hamstring and stuff aren't sore, but your knee tendons and stuff like that are sore. It doesn't feel. It's like the worst feel. Besides like tooth pain and like probably, but like before actual breakage or damage happens, you know what I mean? That burn just isn't good. It's not good for anyone. If you have it just walking around, I feel bad for you. Oh man, rough. And my heel, it didn't hurt. The stability muscles in there hurt, but they're sore, not hurting. But it used to hurt constantly. And I skated every day for 2 weeks and it just stopped hurting like that. They hurt in a sore way, not in a like chronic pain, right? Because it was like chronic pain. It wasn't enough to hurt me or like stop me from doing my daily life, but it was just always painful. Always. Now it's just like gone. Maybe running and all that stuff doesn't use that muscle that it was inflamed and it was maybe atrophying, and that's what I actually felt. It was a pretty high pain. Like it wasn't like super high. It was like 10 being the most and 0 being the least. It was, around a 2. It was something you would want to take medicine, start thinking about taking like at least aspirin or something, or ibuprofen or something. You know what I mean? Get on a regimen of that. Oh, that would suck. I didn't do that. Every once in a while, I would take ibuprofen for my heel, but it was like at the most once or twice a month in the cold months, like December, January, February, the really cold months. But like other than that, it was fine. Like I could, like roll my ankles and like stretch my ankles out, and it would feel good, and then it would just come back real fast. Maybe something was being pinched that I couldn't realize. I don't know. Maybe one of the tendons was getting so tight because I wasn't using it the way it was intended to be used. Maybe I'm running wrong. I don't know. I don't run all that often though. It's mostly mountain biking because I like mountain biking and I hate cardio. So the only reason I mountain bike is because I like mountain biking. If I hated, let's put it this way, I didn't like wrestling in high school enough to do the cardio workout that comes with it. Like I did it for a year and then I stopped. And literally my only problem with wrestling is that you ran too much. I get why you want that VO2 max up, and you want that VO2 max up. You want to be able to have that ability to have. I get why the cardio aspect. You need to have a strong cardiovascular system to really do any sport, right? But I also got yelled at by my coaches all the time because I didn't want to cut. Like I was a lean 180, but like I'd rather not be at 10% body fat it sucks to be at 10% body fat. All these guys who want that, good for you, but your life's gonna suck. Like, you're gonna be hungry all the time. You're gonna have to work out. You're gonna have to like figure out how you can eat, maintaining calories while also burning all the calories off in the same day, essentially, via it be muscle work if you're trying to burn fat, or just maintaining burning caloric intake. Because once you start maintaining, your body won't change too much. Like, it won't get any leaner. So like, you really have to maintain your diet to the calorie, right? And that's cool, but like, I want to be able to eat pizza every once in a while and not eat a meal, especially when you're at 10% body fat, because it's or close to it. Anything under 15 is fucking insane. It really is. Like, it's not even a joke, dude. Like, yeah, it's nice to have a six pack and rippling muscles, but at the same time, dude, I don't want to feel like I'm starving all the time because I'm working out so much to burn all those calories that I literally just took in. And some of them you burn before you even eat them. Because most people, I don't know about everybody, but a lot of people work out before work. And a lot of people work out after work, which means they're at least missing dinner for the meal. Your body is going to be burning calories that you haven't even eaten yet. That shit's insane. Like, I have done that. It's horrible. It's the worst experience of life. Like, just imagine being hungry all the time because you have to work out all the time. It sucks. And then if you want to look really good, you got to dehydrate yourself. Like, if you want that, like, you want to know how those movie stars get those six packs? It's because they actually work out normally, right? Like a normal workout. Nothing crazy. Just some sit-ups, maybe some weighted sit-ups, shit like that. Crunches, all that shit, right? They just have a normal ab workout. They just dehydrate themselves. And they're at low body fat. That's how they get those six packs. And sometimes they're drawn on. But that's besides the point now. But yeah, before they were drawn on, it was like a lot of fucking work to do. Like, it's a lot of fucking work to be at 10%. It's hard enough being at 15%. Because you might have a calorie, because usually the only thing that sucks about 15 to 20 is that you'll usually have a calorie deficit for 2 days, and then you almost want to gorge, but you're not at a calorie deficit for most of the week. Like, but you want to cut 2 days just because you want to at least maintain a little bit without being able to eat something else. Like, the diet isn't hard to figure out. It's carbs in, carbs out. You want good food for vitamins, minerals, and things like that. Use spices. You don't have to eat bland food. Stop being stupid. There's actually good spices out there that used to be medicinally used for aches and pains. I don't know them off the top of my head at the moment, but they do work. It's just a small. It's just such a small relief that it doesn't really register. Your life doesn't feel like shit when you're sore and shit. You know what I mean? Shit, I didn't know this. Dogwood tree, American dogwood tree. It is like aspirin. People have used it for aspirin apparently, and it works. And people have used it for like skin cream and shit. You just grind out the bark, just the bark. Who would have fucking thought that? I wouldn't have. And we have a North American dogwood right out front. I could do that if I wanted. I'm not going to, but like there is good because I don't even know what that tastes like, and I don't want to taste it. I don't want to rub it on me. But like yeah, there is things you eat that can boost and lower different parts of your different parts of your chemistry, depending upon when you eat it, how you eat it, like in the spices. It's just a natural compound. Like for instance, I take like non-psilocybin mushrooms and ground it up in a pill for how good it is for your brain and things like that, like the clarity you get and stuff. Like it has your brain firing on the right sugars, right? Not the junk that I sometimes drink, like a Red Bull and tea. Because I don't eat much sugar, and when I do, I feel like shit. I have this week, but that's because I'm on vacation and I don't really give a shit. You just don't want a lot of body fat on you. You don't. No one does. Looks like shit, and you don't feel good. You don't. I've had a gut for pretty much the whole decade I haven't been skating, and a decade plus that I haven't been skating. And dude, it sucks. It's horrible. I hate it. And I'm working towards getting rid of it. It's just gonna take a lot of time because it's a beer gut, so it's a bunch of low garbage and tier calories. You know. And going into ketosis sucks sometimes. Like if you're just not feeling good and you go into keto already and you go into ketosis, it's just worse. Life just sucks. Once you get used to it, though, it doesn't. But the first like month you do that, it's gonna suck, dude. It sucks. It fucking sucks. They call it the keto flu, but I don't think it's a flu because like sometimes it doesn't affect you at all. Like I'll eat to where I'm just burning fat essentially, right? So a calorie deficit and having low sugar and ketosis fucking sucks when you get into it the first couple times, but then like the next like day, let's say day 4, I get like the keto flu or whatever. But day 5 I won't have it, and maybe day 6 I won't have it, but I'll have it day 7. It's like, dude, it sucks. It does suck. It really does. And I understand why it sucks because your body's trying to reprogram itself. But, and I have heard stories of people who not diabetic but were pre-diabetic and did keto diet for like a year or two and they just weren't anymore. Same with like the carnivore diet too. I don't know how, but I guess that is a thing. It makes sense because you're only eating animal fats and meat. You're only eating animals. There are carnivores who won't even eat eggs and milk. Drink milk. I think they should, but you know, milk's good for you. All of it is. I prefer whole because it doesn't taste like shit. But like all it is suspended animal fat. That's all it is with vitamins and minerals in it from that animal. It's a good pick me up. It really is. People talk shit about milk, but milk, dude, is such a good pick me up. God, glass of milk. I usually drink it with a protein shake. So instead of using water, I use milk to add to my fat calories. It's fat, carb. Well, if you're doing ketosis strictly, it's fat and protein. If you're doing regular cut, normal food, but like portioning it out and all that, and having your calories set at a certain level, it's protein and carbs. Because fat is very important, but you can get fat from almost anywhere. Like, and not the bad fats either, the good ones, like from animals, from things like what are they called? Avocados and shit. Good fats are good, man. I hate avocados, so it's usually just meat. Lean ground beef, steak, chicken, pork, venison. That's what you got to focus on. Just eat right. I will say this: the keto guys are crazy because I don't know how you work out on that. There is carbs do help proteins get places, and the best and most carb ingestment is through sugary basis. Like it's not like just sugar. It's like potatoes aren't sugar, but they're when you eat them, your body pretty much produces it as sugar. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Fruit, vegetables, things of that nature. Grains, especially high processed grains. Which, look, I indulge in all the time. Right? I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm a perfect guy. I'm not at all. I still have it good. So I'm just talking about it. All I'm doing. It seems there's a lot of information out there, man. Like, and there's a lot of conflicting information too. Like, don't get me wrong. Doing tests is pretty sketchy, but at the same time, it depends on how old you are. You know what I mean? Like, if you're above 40, you should probably be doing tests. Not a lot, just a tiny little bit. Level out your testosterone back to what it was when you were like 30 or 20. Because that shit is fucking, it's good and bad, right? And steroids, I don't recommend steroids to anyone. I've seen a lot of people get injured that were on steroids. So, I don't recommend it. And that's because of sports too. They were playing sports, not just like weightlifting. To be jacked or whatever. No, they were playing sports. I've seen a lot of injuries go down, and the leading factor was steroids. Even though it can give you the gains that you want if you keep doing it for a long time, it just fucks you. What else? I mean, there's a lot of things that can fuck you that aren't even like that are legal. One thing is weed, and I know I partake, but it is a very estrogenic plant, I should say. I don't know if there's any truth to it, but it seems like a lot of the stoners aren't in shape. Some are. I'm not saying they aren't, but like real like stoners, they're either really skinny or really fat. One of the two. Depends on how much they eat, I guess, or what they eat. They might be eating a huge calorie deficit, but if they have a job that's like construction, they're burning calories all day. And if they even work out just a little bit, they'd be fine. They're like skinny fat, right? What we call skinny fat. Not completely because they work construction, but they're not really in shape. But they're not flexible. They're not limber. They're just kind of hoping to stay that way without actually working on it besides work. They're busy working, essentially. That's usually what happens. It's why I like all those old guys that you met. It wasn't because they were weak or their bodies were weak. It was because they never worked on their bodies after work. And it's understandable why they didn't. They were working like huge shifts, but like, dude, you've got to at least take a day to get some flexibility training and stability training in hand. All you have to do is calisthenics to keep it up, man. It's not hard. Go slow, go easy. I'm not saying you have to do jumps and stuff depending upon your age, but like if you're 50, you can jump a little bit, just a step. As long as you're not like fatally injured at some point in time. Make sure you're healthy enough too. Make sure your joints are healthy enough too. You know what I mean? Creatine helps. Anyone wants to know? Creatine's good. Like, people talk shit about it, but it's really good. It helps your muscles repair. It's so great. Creatine's good, but here's the thing. You have to work out on it. Or at least do the sport you're doing on it, right? If you're taking creatine and mountain biking, you have to do it. I'm not saying you have to do it every day, but you have to do it, and when you do it, you have to do it a lot. Because you will bloat. Water does help retain fat, so that's a problem too. You can get it into a chronic problem of like, yeah, my muscles are holding water, but I'm holding a lot of fat water too. You know what I mean? I wouldn't recommend taking it if you're super big.
like 300 some pounds. But if you're like, and you're like, you know, a normal height of a guy, but if you're like a little overweight, you're probably pretty good. You know, I'm not saying obese, but like maybe obese, you shouldn't do it. Only because it just gives you more weight you have to carry around, and that's dangerous if you don't work out. Don't, like, you're not on your feet and stuff. Some people are, though. I'm confused as why they're so big, but I don't get it. Maybe because they just eat too much. I mean, I can say that for me right now. Like, I just eat too much. That's why my gut doesn't go anywhere. I never tap into that resource. And I need to stop, like I do. It's probably not as much as I think it is. I never really measured it, but it's probably also way too much. Even if it's a surplus of 500 calories, it's pretty bad. Yeah. Just getting yourself to stably be at a calorie flatline is nice. You feel really good when you do that. And I have done that. And it's probably the best time you feel. The problem is it's a calorie flatline. No progress is being made back and forth. Just staying. So you have to cut out the extra calories. And if you're bulking, understandable. Like if you're a weightlifter, because you just want to weightlift, even if you don't do like lifting or bodybuilding competitions or anything, or even strongman competitions or whatever, cool. But like most of the time, you don't really need a bulk, unless you just want to have a bulk season to grow a little bit of muscle come January or February, or mid-January, and you want to get a little tiny bit of muscle, and you're just taking the holidays as a bulk, and you're just eating it like a surplus sometimes. Like a huge surplus sometimes, like Christmas. Most people take their bulks during around that time because of the holidays, if they're celebrating those holidays. Thanksgiving in the U.S. for U.S. Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's happen within like almost a month. So, that's all within the same month and a half. So, and that's a lot of calories. Thanksgiving especially, and Christmas especially, and New Year's if you drink a lot on New Year's, right? It just depends on what you're taking into. You shouldn't drink. I'm not gonna shit on you if you do, but you shouldn't. Same with like lots of other things. Shouldn't be eating sugars a lot. You shouldn't be eating mostly grain or anything that's like a starch. You should be eating mostly fruits, vegetables, and meat, dairy, and you'll be pretty healthy. The best way to train for longevity is, if you want longevity included, not only just in your movability, but also in your longevity of life and longevity of your movability. Farmers carries, man. They'll do the world for you, and do them like long. Don't just do like back and forth 10 times of, like 50 feet or whatever. Nah, don't want to walk around the neighborhood. Like just grab 2 dumbbells. You don't have to be super heavy, like 35 pounds, 25 pounds, something like that. Nothing super heavy. And just walk around with it. Eventually it'll get super easy and you'll be able to go longer. And like, I'm not saying do that every day, but like do it maybe once a week, and then do the regular farmer's carries. Just do 10 back and forth in your hallway or whatever, or in your room if it's big enough, or if that room that you work out in is big enough. You know what I mean? Farmer's carries are super important. I'm going to be doing those a lot here shortly. And my grip strength is getting a little weaker. I can feel it. So that helps with that. It helps with your elbow strength, helps with your shoulder strength, your back strength, core strength. It helps with all of it. Your hamstrings. It helps with all of it. It does. Your coordination, your stability, your stability under pressure. Not just like
you're standing, but your posture, it helps so much. If there's one exercise I would say people should do on the regular, excuse me, that's very easy to do, and you can use an everyday item for this, like a bucket full of water or whatever, 2 buckets full of water. You have to use weights. You can just carry that for like long, like start off to where you think you can do it. Don't like go out and like, I'm gonna walk a mile while doing farmer's carries. Don't do that. I'm talking about like up and down your sidewalk in front of your house or your apartment or whatever, or go around the block if you can, if it's not too big or whatever. Stuff like that. Take them to the park. Those old people walking in the malls early in the morning on the weekends, Saturdays usually, had something. They were doing that. That's what they were doing. No wonder why they live forever. It helps with everything. Like literally your cardio, your fucking ligament, your ligament and tendon strength training. It helps with all of it. Your back, your fucking back. You know how important your back is, dude? Back pain has to be the worst. And when I get it, it's because I've been being lazy and not moving enough. That's when I notice I get it. So I've implemented standing at work. So for me, so I can't stand it all the time, but most of the time I can. So when I can, I do. It feels good too, like knowing that I stood most of the time without like my feet hurting or anything. To be fair, where I work though is like anti-static, so the floor is like rubber. But just the ability to be able to stand on anything for most of an 8-hour shift, if not all of the 8-hour shift, is really nice. And it's not in a very big spot, and it's not like I'm running around a lot. I'm just standing there. At desk, so that's why. It did feel weird at first, but I was just like, I don't really care. So I just stand. It also helps with me not being bored and falling asleep. I'm not gonna lie to you. Sometimes my job is boring as shit. Like when you're sitting there diagnosing computers for hours, you kind of like, you want to go to bed. You. It's very boring. It's very boring. That's the one part I hate about my job. Is the boring part. Because they're super boring. Like it's not like it's just boring. Like, oh, this is boring. You know, this is kind of boring. No, it's like on a scale of 1 to 10 in boredness, 10 being the most boredness, or 10 being the most fun and 0 being the most bored. It would be Hello? Hello? Looks like everything's working. Okay, let's get back to the chat. Yeah, I would also recommend fasting, at least intermediate fasting for a little while. But just regular fasting is good. Like one day a week. Or even longer. Like I know when I was like 20, I would fast for like 2 days on the weekends, so I was just doing a bunch of shit. I didn't feel drained. I was probably burning extra fat reserves that I had. That's probably why I was in such good shape back then. We were drinking a lot too, so the fact that I didn't get beer gut was kind of crazy. I didn't get that until my son was born. Probably before that. I probably didn't get my real gut until his mom was pregnant. Her thing was burgers. Her craving was just cheeseburgers. And she was a vegetarian too, so my son overtook that pretty quick. Like, that ain't happening. Actually, I know what it took over, because one day she was a vegetarian. She ate fish. She's a pescatarian or whatever the fuck it is. So she's a vegetarian. She didn't really eat anything besides fish. And it was rare for her. Like, she didn't eat fish very often. And the only reason she did is usually because of, like, family dinners and stuff. So, like, once a month she'd do it, maybe. Maybe twice. Right? And she would only eat, like, vegetable-based pizzas. So, like, no vegetable cheese, fake cheese, vegetable toppings with, tomato sauce, which is a vegetable, and grain. Grain is fine because it's not an animal. She ate eggs once in a blue moon too, and she didn't drink milk. So, but cheese and cheeseburgers were a thing when she was pregnant, so that changed very quickly. Actually, the day it changed was funny because I was making bacon. She's like, I want all of that. I'm like, you can have it. Make more then. That's all that happened that morning. All of it. I was like, because we had that talk. I'm like, look, I know you're a vegetarian and I know you don't really like meat. But this is our kid and you're going to eat meat. My kid is not coming out maldeveloped because of you not liking meat. I don't care. And then she had a craving for it, so I didn't care. And I used to make like healthy burgers too, like really healthy burgers. Like had the right amount of fat in it, had the right amount of. I would put vegetables and stuff like peppers and onion in it, and very clean eating. That's probably why I turned out so fucking big. He needs to eat a little bit cleaner, but more meat. I get on him about that. Like, I got on his mom about it too, because she was trying to make him a vegetarian. I'm like, no, get the fuck out of here. Like, for a while, he didn't drink milk because he just didn't want it. And then he wanted it one day, and he drank it, and he had, not the runs, but the shits weren't very great. Like, the shit, it was just bad. He said, like, it was just like, it wasn't diarrhea, it was like right in between. Maybe it was diarrhea, I don't know. And I was like, just keep drinking it. And he's like, why? I was like, because what it is your gut biome doesn't have the stuff to digest it anymore. You just didn't drink milk for so long. So, and that worked. It works every time. I'm telling you, most lactose intolerant people aren't lactose intolerant. You just don't have the gut biome. And maybe you weren't born with it, but maybe you should build it. If there's one thing that helped northerner people throughout history, it was milk. Like people from the north where it snows a lot. White people, mostly. Probably the steppe tribes and stuff like that too. You know? It could be goat milk. It could be whatever milk you want it to be. I used to be able to drink raw milk, but that's not a thing anymore because it's illegal to do, and I grew up on it, so it wasn't bad. It's probably the best, but yeah. Everybody shits on it. I'm like, dude, that's fine. I'll suck at life. That's why. Like your body should be able to deal with like 99.9% of diseases that aren't that are bacterial based.
Like, for real. Like, that's not even a joke. Viruses are a different story, but bacteria, get the fuck out of here. I mean, that's why I never got sick drinking, like, water from other places. Like, I know people who got sick who would drink water, like, just other states and get sick. So, yeah, that's why. Like, my gut biome is pretty good. It's not great because I eat too much sugars, but it's better than most. I'd rather have a gut and have this gut biome than be fat and have a gut biome that can't digest, like, normal food. That would be fucking horrid. And when I say normal food, I mean actual food. Like, all that processed shit is gross. And I do eat it, don't get me wrong. I ate a bowl of cereal today because I was too lazy to get up and cook anything. All right, that was the wrong mistake, too. I should have ate a fucking steak and eggs, or just eggs, or whatever. Anything would have been better than just cereal and milk. But I just ate cereal and milk, drank milk. I also had a protein shake, so I did have my protein, but just not in the food I was eating. I'm sure there's some protein in Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Sorry, man, you have to enjoy life sometimes, like you do. There's, like, don't get me wrong, there's guys who don't, and they're strict, especially when they're losing weight. Makes sense. I'm not mad at you. It just sucks to not, like, be able to eat a bowl of cereal randomly, or, like, you know, eat pizza. You know, 2 slices of pizza one day, or things like that. And we don't, and like eating out or whatever, you know what I mean? Because like you don't know what they're using to cook with. Like you just know it tastes good, right? Like you don't really know what the. I mean, you can go ask them; they'll tell you. But you don't. Most people don't. And the chain restaurants probably aren't the best. And even the local restaurants, some of them probably aren't the best either. Yeah, it's just not good for you, man. Not. And don't let the oversalt thing get to you because it just causes higher blood pressure. But if you're doing enough cardio, trust me, it doesn't matter. Like you need sweat. Like you need salts. So yeah, too much salt is not good. But like, even if you are eating too much salt, if you hit your VO2 max a couple times a week, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine. Because you're sweating so hard. And imagine doing it for a week, a month. Just like VO2 max training real quick for a month. For like a week in the month. It builds up, dude. And that's something that can stay with you for a long time. As long as you don't destroy it by smoking or something like that. But like VO2, or like being in an industry where there's like a lot of dust and garbage shit. Like if you're an office worker, you should be jacked and like not jacked, but like if you're an office worker in your off time, I know it's hard. I know. You should be cut at the very least. Like you should be at like 15% body fat or close to it. And like your stability and your stability and flexibility training should be off the charts. It's like what that, like I work technically in an office. I work in a repair shop, but like for electronics, but it's like, I stand at least, you know what I mean? I gotta do something. I like on break, I park across the parking lot, like the furthest distance I possibly can without being in a different parking lot, just to park my vehicle, just so I have something to do on break. Like I have to do something. I notice if I just stand around and like go out front or whatever and smoke a cigarette, I get like antsy and annoying. I get annoyed. I get annoyed, not annoying, by like everything. And it's annoying. I don't like that. I don't like doing that. I gotta move. Men of any age, were definitely not meant to work in an office. I feel that every day of my life. When I go to the repair shop that I work in, where you're pretty much at an office desk. Soldering equipment, some phone repair equipment, some computer repair equipment. It's all there, and a computer. It's not a great environment to be in. It fucks with you if you can't
it fucks with you if you can't escape it every once in a while. Like I get not having to listen to anything all day mentally makes you tough, but like it's not about the mentality of making you tough. It's that, dude, there is a point to where I've worked at an office job where we couldn't have headphones or even personal music playing, and even if it was real low, and it does drive you insane a little bit. Like, it does drive you crazy. It doesn't matter how mentally tough you are. I'm pretty mentally tough. I stay calm under pressure pretty easy. But with that said, I also don't put up with certain things. So I can temper very quick, but I'm usually pretty fucking calm. Calm in the sense of, like, there's not going to be any, like, violence or verbal harassment or anything like that. I like to run around and have fun. Like, that's what I like to do. I'm calm in, like, my attitude. I'd rather run around like a retard than be someone who talks all the time. And this is fun. I wouldn't mind if this was my job, but it probably will never be. I'm not that entertaining. I know that. I could become more entertaining. Usually I'm just dead ass tired and I have no energy by the time I'm doing these. It's hard for me to be entertaining. I'm gonna try more, but it is what it is right now. I'm gonna keep streaming, but I'm definitely gonna become at least a little bit more entertaining. Maybe I'll do some skateboard stuff. Maybe I'll do some skateboard video stuff. Maybe I'll do some I probably won't be able to do a live stream. But I probably could, but it has to be like in the morning or something. When nobody's at the skate park. I don't want to be in the way of people. Because, dude, it's so annoying to see kids shooting vlogs. Like, it is. And I've only seen it a few times. And I'm like, dude, stop it. You know what I mean? Like, if you're a famous person, I get it. Like, especially in, like, a niche sport like skateboarding or BMX or whatever. But, like, video recording everything all the time, really annoying. I get it if it's your only income, but at the same time, it's like, dude, it's a hassle the whole time. You don't know who's going to be on camera or what's going to be on camera or the music or any of that shit that's going on around you. Sometimes they are doing it via phone and it's just not cool. Like they're just in the way sometimes. And then you'll have like them come into restaurants and stuff and it's annoying. It's like, dude, we're here to eat. Shut the fuck up. Honestly. Like, stop it. That's what we need to do more. Just tell people to stop. 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 No. No more of this. That's what we need to do more often. But nobody wants to do it because it's mean. I don't care if it's mean. Stop doing it. Go do it somewhere the fuck else. Like your house. That's why I only stream from the house. If I do a skate stream, it'll be like either in a personal setting, like I spy like the skate, or a really, really, really early morning skate session. Like sunrise skate session kind of shit. So. Oh, it would be fun. I might make a skate videos. I also kind of want to see skating from the point of view of like a chesty. What's up, fully extended? That would be interesting to do too. Doing a live stream from, or at least a video from the point of view of like a chest mount for skating. Probably doesn't look good, but just to play with it. The point would be to travel like in town skating. I have to get my trick set up, my move set up, but yeah.
Everything's good. Yeah, I'm not very good anymore. I'm relearning a lot of the tricks, teaching my body how to do them again, more so than anything else. All the muscle memory's gone. Pretty good, especially since I started skating again. I feel more stable. I feel more talkative to people, more social. I feel more confident too, to be honest. Even though I already knew these tricks, like where the foot placement is and like relatively how hard to push, but not perfect. It's not tuned to my body yet. It's or kick or flick or whatever. It or twist, however you want to do them, whatever move you're talking about. The landing is hard to remember on all of them. So that's the biggest part, and the like amount of force you use for certain stuff. Like when I was relearning shove it's, I at first put too much force into it, and then I end up putting too little force on it, and overcorrecting, trying to fine tune it to where it's like I can land this more than like once a skate session. You know what I mean? I wanted to be able to be like 88%. Bots. But yeah, I'll be skating for at least until my body doesn't work anymore. And I'm improving my body too recently, especially with the skating. Like I feel less out of breath. I feel definitely pay your rent. Can't, that I would try to get an extension. It does make you feel more youthful in general, like even in your body. I'm a little sore because I've been skating for 2 weeks straight. No rest days. At least 2-hour sessions. On the weekends, anywhere between 4 to 6 hours total. Like a 3-hour session and a 3-hour session, or 2-hour session, or 4, whatever. However we split it. I'm on my skateboard like every day, all the time, and my body's finally like, you need to take a break. It took a while. It took 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks. I'm on my 3rd week now. So tomorrow will probably be a good break day. Take a chill pill. Maybe go ride a mountain bike or something. Do something a little different. I'll probably rest though. Doing, like easy workouts, like body weight squats, things like that. For legs, hops, things like stuff that isn't going to strain too much, and will actually help build that muscle, right? Those tendons and ligaments. Compound lifts are super important. You got to be very careful when you're doing them, but you also got to do them. That's the thing, right? They're dangerous. If you fuck up or pick up too much weight, you're fucked. But they are important. I would not be trying to get the best. What is that called? What's that lift called? I forget what they're called now, but not squats. Give me a second. They're good. They're a good core workout, but they're not good for your back. What the fuck are they called, dude? Let's see. That's just legs. Abs. I don't think it's an abs, but we'll look. Alright. Yeah, just movability strength is super important. Um, you should always be doing it too. It's not easy to do. Deadlifts, this is what they're called, deadlifts. They're super dangerous. Be careful when you do those, man. Don't weight it. Don't weight it heavy. Just don't. It's not worth the risk to your back. Unless you're like going to be a bodybuilder or something that's different. You guys do your thing, or the strongest man in the world, shit, whatever. Do your thing, right? But like, if you're a normal person and you have like to rely on a job where you're on your feet, or even if you want to stand, sitting with back pain sucks. Like, back pain sucks. Doesn't matter what it's caused from. It could be either muscular or joint or bone issues. Those are not good. They hurt like hell, and you can never really fully get them fixed. You kind of can, but not really. So be very careful when you do that shit. Same with squats and your knees and your ankles and all that stuff. Like, even calf raises are kind of, it's a compound lift for your ankles and your calf and your Achilles tendon and all that stuff. And if you're doing the ones where you're like hang off the ledge to stretch for flexibility, you can really fuck that up pretty easily. You can do it weighted, but I wouldn't do it too weighted. Like maybe 30 pounds at most, extra weight. So 215s. Just because. Now regular calf raises, like flat calf raises from the ground, go back, that's fine. But the ones where you like elevated calf raises, do not do those super weighted. Don't. And isolation exercises are very easy to do, but you gotta do both. If you want to get jacked, you gotta do both because you gotta be able to carry around that weight. You gotta be able to have those tendons strong. Carry around that extra weight that you're gonna be carrying off muscle. Same with fat too, by the way. If you're overweight, your best thing you can do in your life is try to do some plyometrics, build up your knee strength, your knee, your ankle, and do farmer's carries if you can. Doesn't have to be heavy weight. Just some kind of weight, like a fucking 5-pound dumbbell, 2 5-pound dumbbell, like just some kind of weight. It could be a bucket full, 2 buckets full of water that are like, maybe like 2 pounds each. Don't have to weigh very much. Just something, that'll save your life, I think, because it works on everything. You're working on your cardiovascular because you're carrying weight while walking, and it fixes your posture because the way you have to stand and do it, or the way you have to have your shoulders back, pinched down, that chest out, just looking straight ahead, straight up. I'm kind of on an angle, like reclined, kind of, so it looks like what I'm doing is pretty close to what you're going to be doing when you're doing it. You're going to be carrying it on yourself, walking straight up. No, obviously a slight bend to the knee at extension, just so you don't hyperextend it walking with weight. But other than that, locking your knees, it works on all the tendons in your back, in your hips, in your shoulders. It works out all the tendons in your body, pretty much, except for maybe like it works on your finger tendons for sure because it ups your grip strength a lot. Just holding on to something stupid. It's retarded. Like a stupid little bit of weight. I would probably go with 25 if you're going to be serious about it and you're younger. If you're older, do a weight that's comfortable. Don't kill yourself. Don't ever do that. Take steps. If you think you could do it with 5 pounds, try it out. If you think you can do it with 10, try it out. But I wouldn't even, 25 is good, 35. Any weight higher than 25 is good. It's just, it's going to be strenuous. It's going to hurt. I think 35 is like the perfect weight for farmer's carries. Unless you just want to get that core that strong, because it literally is the core of all your momentum system. So if you want to get that strong, get the weight higher, walk a little bit longer. I would do it
The way I would do it is if you could walk a mile carrying, like that's the max I would do. Try. And I wouldn't even try it now. I would try it after like a year of the same weight too. Like, I think you shouldn't really be going up in weight in farmers carries unless it's just too fucking easy. If you're strength training, by the way. And there's more than 2 ways of strength training. There's strength, overall body strength, and then like bodybuilding exercises. Those are different things. When I say strength training, I mean like it works on not only like your muscles, right? But it works on your tendons, your ligaments, and all that stuff way more like better. Like a curl, yeah, it does that, right? It does that. But when you do an overhead press, it really does it, right? That's why you feel so tired when you do them. Right? Or a bench, when you do bench, you're doing the same thing with your arms. Like you're working them. But like when you're doing compound lifts, dude, you gotta be careful, obviously. Don't pick up too much weight, but it's so much better for you than just like isolated curls. Like isolation's great to build giant muscles, but you want to build everything. If you want to add isolation exercises to just regular strength training, then you can do that. I don't see the point in isolation exercises unless you're specifically trying to get a specific muscle to look a certain way. That's the only reason they exist. And sometimes it's just easier to work that muscle that way. To be fair, there are some where it's just easier to work the muscle that way. You know? Bridges help a lot too. Do this, just body weight bridges. Helps a lot, man. Just bridge. So good for your lower back. If you're gonna lift heavy deadlifts, do bridges. It stretches your back out so good. It realigns your hips perfectly. Helps do that. I mean, dude, it builds your hip strength up like way more than like your hip, like your hip flexor, all that stuff. It does such a good job doing that. Like it does. It stretches everything out real good. It warms it all up real good. And if you do enough of them, it is a workout, man. Doing 10 isn't enough in one go. Like you should do like maybe 3 sets of 20. That's a like unless you're like out of shape. I'd start with 10 on everything. If you're out of shape, pick a lower weight so you're not stretching your tendons too much, fucking them up. And not super low weight, just something that's comfortable to lift. Start with that for the first like week, maybe 2. Then move on to adding, like 5 pounds. Whether it be dumbbells, free weights, whatever. Doesn't matter what it is. Machines, doesn't matter. Add 5 pounds at a time. Don't kill yourself. It ain't worth it. It ain't worth injuring yourself to you can look good as long as you do the reps, man. You can look good as long as you do the reps. You do them consistently and you do them concisely and you're eating well. And you're eating at a deficit if you have a lot of fat. Like you're eating at like, at least a 500 calorie deficit. Depends on how big you are. If I was like 300 pounds, I can tell you right now, I would be at 1,000 calorie deficit. I'd be dying pretty much at that point. Most people would be, by the way. You'd be surprised at how many calories you eat, even if you're skinny, right? Because sometimes you got to fix stuff in your body, so you need those extra calories sometimes. And sometimes you don't, because you didn't physically exert yourself enough to have your body to be fixed. So it's very hard to stay consistent when it does feel good. If you can stay consistent on your workouts and or even whatever sport you play, and your calorie at a 500 calorie deficit, it feels pretty good for a bit, right? It kind of hurts, but it feels pretty good for a bit. Just get their protein in. That's the most important. Protein and some carbs, a little bit of carbs, so you can last longer than 20 minutes doing anything. Because you need carbs are
longevity resources. So like, it's what your body's gonna store. So you got to be at like a good calorie deficit. It's all calorie deficit 99% of the time. The reason these diets work, like these fad diets, they do work. They really do. The carnivore diet does work if you're eating at a calorie deficit, right? Probably the vegan diet too, and the vegetarian diet, and the keto diet, and the Atkins diet. I think the keto diet and the Atkins diet are the same thing, just different names. Yeah, if you're doing all that, if you're doing all that, you're good. Like, you don't even have to lift heavy. You'll build muscle still, because you're not lifting heavy. You know what I mean? You're not lifting heavy. So if you don't lift heavy, you're not going to be tearing your muscles a lot. So your calorie intake can be at a deficit. So I wouldn't be too deficit. I'd probably be around 500. If I was 300 though, it'd probably be 1,000. It probably would be, like, straight up. I'd want to lose that weight so fast. Like, when I hit 250, I didn't eat but dinner. And when I say dinner, I mean the smallest portions of dinner I possibly could for like a month and a half. Just to lose 10 pounds. It's like, damn, I'm bridging something here, bruh. Like, that's not good. That's exactly what I thought. Because I didn't have a scale because I didn't care. I was just taking care of my kid and working a lot and eating when I could. And you know what I mean? And that's not a good thing because I would eat anything. That's the problem. I wasn't just eating like foods that were good for me. I was eating garbage. So dieting is hard. Quitting smoking is hard. Quitting your devices is hard. It's supposed to be hard. Just prove yourself something to it. You know? But working out's been helping. Skating every day's been helping. I feel more confident. Especially when you're relearning new tricks. It's like, you don't, like, your body doesn't know how to do them, but you do in your head. Right? So it's like, it's really hard, but when you get that trick, like, to be like at like 80% of the time you can land it, 80-90% of the time you can land it, you're like super happy about it. And it doesn't take very long to get to like that high of a percentage because you already know how to do it. You're just training your body the movement again. And then once you can do that, you're set. I'd say you can, if you used to skate and you were pretty decent, let's say you could get up to like a 360 flip, right? If you started practicing every day for 2 hours, trying to learn a new trick, like, get your ollies in shape first. It might only take like one session of 2 hours. You can ollie still probably. So if you can get your ollie good enough, like, start off with like a stop bar and stop sign first, but then like go to a manhole cover and just ollie over that for like 2 hours. I did that, and I will say my ollies got like 3,000 times more stable overnight. And they weren't even that unstable. Like, they would be unstable sometime, right? Like, it wasn't a constant. It was like rare. But like, I noticed I missed less ollies. I noticed I launch correctly more. I noticed that I land correctly more. That's the important part, right? I noticed that I got the pressure higher or lower. My ollie got higher without applying too much more pressure. You know what I mean? Like, you start noticing that kind of thing when you're doing it for like 2 hours straight. Right? That's just a fact. That's a crazy fact, but it's a fact nonetheless. But yeah, you just train your body to do what you want it to do at that point. And it's going to be really quick. Like, it took me 1 week to, like, not perfect, but like get my 180s to be in like the 90 percentile. Just 1 week of doing backside 180s or frontside 180s. I'm sorry. I haven't done backside yet. I need to do that. I decided to go backside shove it just because I know I could probably do it. I remembered how I did it one day when I was just like skating around and I tried it and I landed it like instantly. So like, and obviously that's because I was actually trying. So when I was so happy and I tried it again, like directly after that, I missed because I was super excited. Gotta stay more calm. I was super excited. I was like, damn. When I did it, I yelled that, and no one was even around. I just said it anyways. But, you know, then I worked on that for a week. Next week, I'm going to try to do frontside or backside 180s. I always wasn't that good at them, but I had them up to like, you know, 80%. 80% of the time I landed. On whatever. Dare sets. Ledges. It's just so much easier when you do frontside. If you do a frontside 50-50, which is way easier than a backside. The backside 180 out, it's always nice. It's nice to do, right? If you can pull it off, it's nice to do. It's fun. It's easy. Once you get the grinds and stuff back down, and you do like a backside 180 off of a rail, or even off of a ledge, because on a rail it's even cooler because you can easily just do an ollie, right? Or anything else, but backside 180 looks good. So there's a front side, but it just looks good. It also helps with backside board slides later on when I get back to grinds and slides and stuff. I'm still in the early days, guys. I'm still in the early days of relearning shit. I have to teach my body how to do shit too. I think it's the shove-its that got my legs all fucked up right now because you are using a lot of pressure, pushing down a lot, and you're using your tendons a lot in that for not only just stability but also like flicking the thing, just flicking it. So it makes sense. Ollies too, like ollies do the same thing because you're using the pop of you're bending the board. That's what you're doing, right? To generate lift and things like that. You're not just flicking it up. You're bending the board when you do this stuff to flow away that you want it to. And you're not bending it a lot. It's not like enough to really throw you off. It's just like your weight plus your weight distribution on the trucks and all that stuff. Like you're playing a symphony of just bending stuff, essentially. Pushing hard down on the board. It depends on how, you don't have to do it that hard, by the way. Like it's just a repeated hardness of that, getting that ingrained into your fucking muscles is really hard. And it's probably really hard on your tendons because you don't want to flick too hard, but you want to flick hard enough, right? And there's a reason. One, unless you're doing a 360 shove it, there's no point to go any further than a regular shove it, or like a 540 shove it or something, like some crazy fucking shove it number. But like shove-its just look fine regularly. Like, yeah, it's cool you can do a 360 shove-it. I'm not going to deny that at all. But like shove-its just always look, this is the classic, right? It's the classic. Do like no complies. Like no complies are cool, but I never had a way to to have an interesting no comply to like a line. It's just a cool thing to do off of like something or onto something or not even that, just like over something. Like you no comply over something, like you jump onto a rail doing a no comply and like that's harder, but like that's way hard, by the way. I've tried it. I've done it a couple times, but not successfully. Or not very successful. At all. But doing it on like the ramp edge and stuff. I never understood it, so I just didn't do it. And I could do the trick randomly for fun, like when I was fucking off with my friends, but it just wasn't something that I use all the time. I mean, that's why I didn't understand the impossible. I still don't, but I'll figure it out. Maybe. I'm getting way ahead of myself. You know why? Because I'm going to end up doing ledges and, once I can get the kickflip and the heel flip down, I'm going to end up doing slides and rails, slides and grinds a lot. Because I miss those, dude. And you don't have to do them very fast. You don't. If something's waxed good, you don't have to do them on stair sets and shit. But they're just fun to do. Nothing's cooler than a grind, man. Nothing's cooler than like going, you know, olling up onto a ledge and just having the sickest nose slide with a kick flip out. Nothing sicker than that. Like nothing. It's just the most beautiful fucking thing in the world. I mean, nose or tail, backside or front side, doesn't even matter. It just fucking looks good. I mean, yeah, it's cool with the 50-50. It's cool with 5-0. It's cool with stuff like that. But it's the interesting stuff, like the nose slide or tail slide, or like a crooked grind or something like that. Lip slide. Lip slides are very easy. I think they are anyways. I always thought they were. I thought nose, tail, board, and lip slides were so easy. Because you don't even have to straighten out for a board slide, you have to kind of have a bit in the middle of the board, where for a lip slide, it's like, you know. It's nice, though. It's fun to do. I miss this stuff. Probably why I picked it back up. Same with mountain biking, man. Someone said I was going through a midlife crisis. I was like, no, I'm just, like, I'm at a point in my life where I'm like, work is important, but it's not, like, I don't get enough enjoyment outside of doing any, like, I don't really get enough enjoyment at work. Right, so I need it somewhere, and I'd rather it be skating or doing something else, like streaming. Do this. Do that. Because I find it's, you don't want to be working a soul-sucking job and not having anything else going on, right? My job isn't that soul-sucking. I'm not shitting on my job, by the way. It's an okay job. There's just problems with the company personally that I have, and it sucks. And eventually I'm just going to start my own, but that's coming too, by the way. Everything's coming. But we'll see. I do like the work. The people were cool for a while. I don't know what the fuck happened there. Everybody went insane, I guess. I don't fucking know. Everybody went insane, I think. I think since COVID, nothing ever has recovered. Like nothing. Just nothing. The economy, the people's attitudes, people being, I think it changed more during COVID than it did after COVID. Like after COVID, it got to like this weird space where like there was two types of people during COVID. There were people who would go outside and do their thing and not give a shit. And then there was the people who gave a shit and were always yelling at people and hiding in houses and stuff like that. But now it's like, it's not flipped, but now everybody's back to hiding in the house because that's how it was before. And it kind of sucks. Like, I actually don't like it. Like, nowadays, I don't even really see kids outside playing. And my neighborhood's filled with kids. Like, I see them once in a blue moon, but it's like every once in a while. Like, when I was a kid, everybody was outside all the time. Didn't even matter what the hell we were doing. We could just be sitting there. We'd be outside. Even like as teenagers, none of us stayed inside. It was weird. Like some of us did, sure. I'm not saying nobody did, but like when I was a teenager, most kids weren't inside. They were either, if they were inside, they were doing something like of importance. Whether it be schooling or whatever, you know what I mean? Like whatever it may be. Most of who I grew up with and most of my generation were outside. Yeah, we got the internet, like in our, like a good internet in our high school days, but most of the people still went outside all the time. Like even if it was just to go outside, like literally just to go outside. And there's no reason behind it. I love that. I do that all the time. People don't do it. I think it's fucking crazy. I don't get it. I'll do it. I mean, I live in a safe place, so. But I'll do it in the middle of the night. Like if I like get off of here, I'm like, I just need to go outside.
I'll go outside for like 20 minutes and just chill. It's great. Probably one of the best things ever for you too. Get as fresh air as you can. Enjoy maybe some sounds. Hopefully, if you live in an area like mine, you're hearing crickets and toads and frogs and stuff, not like cars and stuff. But that's good white noise too to zone out to. I've done that. The only problem is that then you got people who are up all night in the city and they're just making noise at night. Yeah. I lived in the city for a bit with a friend. It was not fun. I hated it. Well, I grew up in the middle of nowhere, that's why. But anyways, I'm gonna jump off.